The story starts with our protagonist who wielded his sword for over 100 years, reaching the pinnacle, but his death is near even after ascending human limits. But his only regret is that he lived being obsessed with the sword and didn't enjoy life. We now move on to a different scenario where a young boy is being severely bullied, and this white-haired monkey blames his mother and how because of her the clan is in ruin and he should consider himself lucky that they weren't kicked out. They are from the prestigious Tang family, but they have fallen because of the heavenly brilliance demon lord. Literally looks like a TikToker without any filters. They faced this guy when he came to take Tang Jai. After fighting with all their might they managed to win, but as a result they had used all their resources, causing the clan to walk the path of downfall. Moving to our bullied boy, this white hair monkey is still acting almighty. As our boy tries to retaliate, this monkey becomes more aggressive. This is our boy's daily life after his mother attracted the attention of the pervert and ruined the clan, which resulted in harsh words directed towards his mother. After entering the house his mother is all worried, but our Chad tells her that everything is fine, but she knows that the other are bullying him. He tells her not to worry and rushes into his room. She asks him if he has eaten. He tells her he doesn't have an appetite. On the bed our Tang Yeon-myeong knows that it's not his mother's fault, but there's not really anyone he can complain to, and raising his voice will only cause retaliation like his father that got assassinated. If they leave the family there is no one who will protect them, and wishes if his father was still around. The next day this group of rubbish start beating Yeon-myeong. Just wait till he own them, I promise it's satisfying. As the intensity of the beating increases, the girl, let's call her Red Dog, takes out a set of needles and wants to test poisons on Yeon-myeong before the clan leader competition. Moving on to Ugly Gorilla, he sits on top of Yeon-myeong and holds him down as this ugly Red Dog starts her experiments and finds it fun that Yeon-myeong is suffering in his skin and reacting. After a few hours it starts raining and Yeon-myeong thinks that if he closes his eyes he would be free, but there would be no one to protect his mother, and thinks if he was but stronger he would have taken care of them, and his wish was to get strong enough to protect his mother. That's when Yeon-myeong notices a glowing sword, but he didn't realize that it was here all this time. For some reason this sword feels familiar to him. After getting a hold of it, Yeon-myeong realizes that it was his sword and he had trained for over 100 years, and showcases the ultimate sword he had created in his lifetime, but because he was so focused that even after reaching the pinnacle he can't stop his death and wishes that if he gets a second life he could live a normal life. As he remembers his memories from his past life with his ultimate sword, he merges both his memories from his past and present live. The next morning his mother tells him to not go as he was very injured yesterday, but Yeon-myeong assures him that he will be okay. The white-haired monkey thinks Yeon-myeong is avoiding them. The hypocrite Ugly Gorilla tells him that if his mother doesn't want to see him in a sorry state he will come here. The monkey has decided he will beat him thoroughly even if he comes today. Wait a few seconds till our Chad own them. Yeon-myeong is here and the Red Dog falls from the tree pretending to be cute, but Yeon-myeong doesn't make a reaction. The monkey starts mocking Yeon-myeong and asks him why he looks unharmed. Yeon-myeong tells him that much won't hurt him, calling him by his name, shocking this mutts. They think Yeon-myeong has gone mad and the gorilla is ready to release his frustration. That's when Yeon-myeong starts calling them by their names, which offends this rabid dog, so she thinks of killing him or doubling the poison dosage. As gorilla tries to attack, Yeon-myeong grabs his head and buries his head in the ground, shocking the pathetic retards. As the fat gorilla gets knocked down, they start panicking as Yeon-myeong approaches them and tells them with these pathetic skills they want to compete. White monkey thinks Yeon-myeong is acting differently and charges towards him. Instead he grabs onto his hand and literally breaks it into pieces. According to Yeon-myeong, with these skills the clan leader's position is pretty much decided. Inside the hidden poison hall, it's where the clan leader resided and major family decisions were made, but because the clan leader's position has been vacant for a long time it has become the council room for the elders. They are discussing about the participants of the clan leader's position and if the poison phoenix's son will participate, as he hasn't announced his participation yet. Moving on to Yeon-myeong, he is dragging the Red Dog by her hair and the elders thinks of excluding him as he is being bullied and hasn't shown any retaliation. As Yeon-myeong drags the dog, the third elder tells him that although he is the son of the previous patriarch they cannot let someone unskilled participate that can lower the competition's level. Even if he is the patriarch's son currently he is nothing but a burden to the family. That's when Yeon-myeong barges into the room and the third elder warns him if he understand what he is doing right now. While our Chad tells him that he is aware, silencing the courtroom. Then he shows the disfigured face of that Red Dog. What a Chad, he literally disfigured her face. Seeing this the elder is shocked and Yeon-myeong tells them that all this time he has suppressed himself but he has reached his limit so he won't endure it anymore. Two dogs are barking how he can harm someone that's going to participate in the clan leader's competition. Yeon-myeong tells them that he is aware of the clan's rules and fight between participants is allowed. The third elder asks him if he is saying that he will participate in the competition, so what if he does, old hag? Yeon-myeong asks if that enough and tells him that ugly gorilla is buried in the ground and he has followed the clan's rules and repaid kindness twofold and revenge tenfold. Since he has proven his qualifications, they can't stop him, but a few dogs can't stop about how he exploited the competition to exempt himself from serious crimes. But the third elder allows him to participate since he is so confident. He tells Yeon-myeong that he better win the competition or else he will bear the consequences. In the evening, his mother tells him why he is participating in the clan leaders competition. Yeon-myeong tells her that it's necessary, and seeing his firm face, his mother won't ask him how he learned those technique or how he overpowered those kids, but she wants to know if he is confident about being the clan leader, which he replies in a cute manner, making her cry as she is proud of him. Yeon-myeong wants to continue protecting his mother, and if anyone disrupts his peace he will eliminate them. A month has passed by and Yeon-myeong's uncle tells Jae-hae how it's dangerous and Yeon-myeong shouldn't participate in the competition, but his mother praises him about how incredible he is. While his uncle agrees to that part, but his attitude had changed a lot. It's all thanks to him and his family that has been protecting Yeon-myeong. Bro, come on, he was almost bullied to death. Since the situation escalated, he had to intervene, and Yeon-myeong is currently doing closed door training. All this time he has been enjoying his mother's meals and trying to fix his twisted chi veins, since he had already reached the peak once he can learn techniques anytime he wants. At the age of 12 his meridians aren't fully blocked, so he can easily regain his powers, so all he has to do is to eat well and grow properly. On the day of the competition he bids his mother farewell and leaves with his uncle. As he leaves she feels proud and thinks if his father was alive he would feel the same. Yeon-myeong came a bit early and his uncle is away due to the competition proceedings. That when a horde of dogs come barking telling Yeon-myeong how trash like him is participating with them, but as they think about disciplining Yeon-myeong he gets knocked out and they bark that Yeon-myeong used a hidden weapon, but after taking a second look it's a half-eaten rice cake. The group get enraged and decides to beat him up, but Yeon-myeong approaches them, tells them if they want to experience the pain. White Monkey faced firsthand. Hearing this they get nervous and all charge towards Yeon-myeong. What a bunch of losers. That's when Yeon-myeong's uncle notices a guy flying through the door and realizes it's a participant. He rushes to the scene to find all of them beaten to a pulp by Yeon-myeong as he eats rice cakes sitting on top of them. The elders are all enraged and can't believe so many participants are injured before the competition, so the Grand Elder thinks of modifying the competition rules. According to some participants, first they undergo 2 to 3 years of training, then they proceed to one-on-one duels. That's when both the girls realize that they both know confidential information. Pink Hair tells her that her father works in the general office. Before Black Hair could talk, Yeon-myeong's uncle tells them that he will oversee the competition. The competition will last 4 years. In the first year they will learn a practice suitable for them, then for the next 2 years they will be under the guidance of assigned warriors. As for the main competition, it will be a goo poison match. Shocking everyone as it is a method where 2 poisons are stored in a jar and only the more potent one survives. Basically it means that the competition will continue until only one person remains. They were supposed to have duels, but because there was numerous dropouts as such more incidents could occur, so they changed the method and everyone stares at Yeon-myeong. Then this old hag explains that this is not a child's game but a very important competition, that they will have to risk their lives. Look at their determined faces as this hag tells them that the winner will possess the entire Tang family. According to this hag, only a select few will survive, among them one of them is Yeon-myeong. At night on the Black Death Alliance territory, a mysterious man is discussing about the Tang clan and how they have been plotting recently. According to their spies, it was declared a few days ago and the future of the Tang clan left in carriages. Currently the state of their clan is such that their alliance leader can get rid of them anytime he wishes. But for now he is leaving them since he has some use. So this guy is thinking if anything happens to the kids it would leave a irreversible damage to the Tang family. Although they are weak, but they are still a clan to be wary about. So for now they have tracked them down and can easily kill them, but what if they kill them 4 years later at the climax of the tournament, which would be fatal, so for now they have decided to lurk in the shadows. According to them they have already planted a seed. As they walk to the competition venue, the supervisor tells them that they will be called by numbers instead of their names. Each group has 4 members and they are group 7. The pink hair girl is Yuri, the purple haired one is Mirio, and the boy is Aijin. The last one is number 28, which is our Yeon-myeong. He seems lost as he was thinking for a moment. He scolds Yeon-myeong for sitting idle, but according to our chat he feels a presence and they are most likely being tailed. After following him they reach a cliff with nowhere to go. From inside the cliff a man asks for password, and after giving it to him a light glows bright and a new retard has arrived. We will call him Skinny Barbie and he will be assisting them in the competition. Even they were once one of the top 5 clans, but that mega pervert invaded them and their clan fell. But because of the support of the Tang clan they managed to survive, so in return they prevent external forces from intruding in this competition. The members are shocked by how complex the formation is, while Mirio thinks something is seriously wrong with Yeon-myeong. as he not concentrating at all. Even back in the carriage the guard told them to introduce themselves to each other as they will be staying together for 3 years. They introduced themselves to Yeon-myeong and praises his courage as he disfigured the face of that red dog whose grandfather is an elder. Yeon-myeong in a rude manner tells that if it is his responsibility that the match turned into a goo poison match. Yuri tells him it's not entirely his fault and Mirio wants to argue, but they ignore her as Yeon-myeong is making a face that seems like he is actually enjoying all this, so if Yeon-myeong does something she will not let it slide. That's when the rest stop and find out that the skinny Barbie is missing and they can't find him. Mirio realizes that they are stuck into this formation and thinks if the skinny Barbie himself got lost. As she is thinking many things at the same time, we move on to that ugly duck. He is bragging about how without the caster there's no way to escape. He finds the Tang family elder pathetic that they would hold an entire group for a single kid, as they promise to double the support if he gets rid of Yeon-myeong. All this guy cares about is his family, and what the Tang clan does is none of his concern. That's when he notices a change in the formation and Yeon-myeong literally ripped it apart. Seeing this he gets scared and Yeon-myeong talks like a retard and tells him that he probably made a mistake so he should be careful. Skinny Barbie thinks to himself that there are no flaws, so how did they manage to escape? They ask Yeon-myeong how he did it, and basically our Chad Kutsid Mirio tells them to stop fighting and stay together with the instructor, but this little dog ran away. Yeon-myeong finds it funny and that malnourished dog is running as fast as he can because he feels that Yeon-myeong can see through this formation. As he leaves the formation he thinks it's more than enough and Yeon-myeong won't ever be able to reach this place. That's when the supervisor Wojin stares at him intensely and asks this trash why Group 7 is not with him. This skinny Barbie poops his pants as he is scared but tries to stay calm as he prepared for this kind of questioning. He tells him that Group 7 won't be participating as he waited for the participants but they never showed up. According to this joker they might have faced bandits or come across some wild animals. That's when the formation cracks and Wojin thinks it might be an intruder but it's actually Yeon-myeong. The trash can't believe that the Jeagle clan's supreme formation broke so easily and Yeon-myeong is happy to see him. Before they arrived Mirio can't believe that Yeon-myeong has such an astonishing skill. And if is it even possible to break the formation with a short sword? Yeon-myeong tells them that he didn't break the formation and it will close soon so they should hurry up and leave. Wojin asks them if they are the participants and they confirm it and figures out that this man is the supervisor and according to him Skinny Barbie told him that they were attacked. Yeon-myeong tells him that he might be mistaken and it's because of his help that they could find them easily. The others can't figure out why he is lying. According to Yeon-myeong he is under the Tang clan's commands so he will keep it just as a suspicion. But after the competition if he finds that they are involved he will eradicate the Jeagle clan from the root. Retarded Barbie makes an excuse and runs away. Wojin apologizes to them for the trouble they faced and officially introduces himself to them as a member of the Bangui Brigade. According to Mirio the Bangui Brigade disappeared a long time ago. They were a military force directly under the young clan leader of the Tang clan and each one of them is as strong as a great leader. The previous clan leader was Yeon-myeong's mother. Before she could talk Yeon-myeong tells him why they are not in the Tang clan. Years ago they fought a desperate battle against the Heaven's Brilliance Demon Lord to protect their master but they were easily defeated. Since they couldn't protect their master they consider themselves nothing but sinners. According to Wojin the first year is autonomous practice and according to their performance they can receive martial arts, scriptures and weapons. Yuri asks Woji if the legendary techniques the 10,000 heavenly flower rain that was lost fighting that mega pervert. That technique is only granted to the one who becomes the young clan leader of the clan. Although it's an incomplete martial art its essence has been passed down by the elders. Hearing about the technique Yeon-myeong thinks that it's similar to sword control and he can probably mimic it to some extent. The winner will receive the essence from the elders one by one. Since he is done talking they can do whatever they want. Yuri asks him where they will be staying and where they can sleep. He outright tells them to survive on their own and they won't be getting any lodgings or comfortable beds. Wojin tells them that comfort will not make them strong and they should adapt to extreme conditions, so from this point onwards they will start practicing on their own judgment. Yeon-myeong literally asks if proved qualified is it okay to live comfortably on a bed since to him adapting to the forest's environment is unnecessary. Everyone including his teammates are shocked hearing him. Wojin thinks how can someone be so arrogant, but if he is the one that broke the barrier it's best to verify his abilities. Yeon-myeong's teammates are telling him to stop spouting nonsense. Wojin tells him that if he can pass the test he can stay in the manor inside the formation shocking his peers but if he fails he has to bear the consequences. Yeon-myeong tells them to start right away. The test is that the team members will surround him and throw hidden weapons and it ends when he manages to block or dodge them within 5 steps. It will start the second Yeon-myeong blindfolds his eyes. As the members surround him our group thinks if this is even possible. As they throw weapons from all sides towards Yeon-myeong he counts them to be exactly 167 and takes out a dagger and with a single exquisite slash Yeon-myeong manages to block them all shocking everyone present on the scene. Wajin can't believe that he repelled all of them but realizes that he actually attracted all the weapons. Yeon-myeong asks him if he passed but Wajin is in a shocked state. After coming to his senses he tells Yeon-myeong that he has passed the test so he can directly go to the manor. Mirio asks Yeon-myeong if he plans to leave his teammates behind. Guess what, he smiles at them and shouts about the meal they will give him. Mirio can't control her anger and Wajin thinks that the battle is already over before it even started. Yeon-myeong asks Wajin to make sure that every meal has meat included. In some place a pack of wolves are enjoying their meal but soon they start coughing and get paralyzed, and from the top the trio launches a sneak attack. Using Ijin's poison-making skill they manage to hunt them down and now they can finally eat. It's been 4 months and the first thing they encountered was a bear. Since they didn't find food they had to survive on grassroots and shed tears when they finally succeeded in hunting. They even managed to find a shelter. As Ijin starts the topic of Yeon-myeong, Mirio gets angry and tells him to shut up. She thinks that Yeon-myeong is loafing around and once they go to the manor she will beat him to a pulp. As they were talking they realized that the meat is not in its place and Yuri gobbled up everything so they beat her to a pulp. Inside the manor our Yeon-myeong is surrounded by squad members and they start attacking him but Yeon-myeong kicks them to create distance and instantly disappears. Actually he is on top of them and plans to use a new technique. Yeon-myeong gets ready and throws 10 rings towards them simultaneously, but the attacks are not normal as they start hitting them one by one. Wajin can't believe that he can control them to the extent that it only nicked everyone's skin. Wajin asks him if he created this technique. Yeon-myeong agrees and tells him that he named the technique the Whirling Line Frenzy Dance. Wajin asks him that this technique will consume a lot of internal energy, so how can he manage it? Yeon-myeong tells him that he once asked manuals for eye techniques. Among the techniques there was Piercing Sky Eye and Current Flow's eyes, but since Current Flow Eye was incomplete it was not recommended. Yeon-myeong tells him that he has mastered Current Flow Eyes, which is one of the oldest and most powerful techniques of the clan. He completed the art using the essence and the technique allows him to shoot at the desired point with minimal internal energy. Wajin isn't surprised anymore after all he has seen. He tells Yeon-myeong that in 2 months the rest of his team will be here and they will face the same test he has undergone. All 3 of them have proven themselves but they would only return after they have polished their skills. Hearing this Yeon-myeong is actually happy and excited to meet them, but according to Wajin they use his face as target practice. In Yeon-myeong's past life his only connection was his master the sword ghost, but in this life he has friends and family and he wishes to see them soon. After 2 more months the trio is ready to enter the manor and Mirio is very excited to meet Yeon-myeong. Yuri wants to split his head and Ijin doesn't have anything to say. They are all fired up and start calling for Yeon-myeong, but since there isn't any response Mirio thinks if he ran away. Mirio turns back to see why Ijin is so quiet. It's actually because Yeon-myeong is with him. Seeing him they get shocked and Yeon-myeong asks them what they were going to do to his head. Yeon-myeong tells them they weren't serious about smashing head and they should instead show him how much they have improved. They tells Yeon-myeong that they are just joking. Mirio didn't even notice him before turning around even after their sense being sharpened after living in the forest. She can't figure out what he was doing all this time. Moreover Yeon-myeong has grown taller and becomes exceptionally handsome. Mirio thinks that something is wrong with her head after seeing only animals. Yeon-myeong praises that even from his perspective they have grown incredibly stronger. It's just that they looks less impressive because he is here. Moving on to the Yahello family, they are holding a meeting and they are here to report on their groups. One of them tells him that Red Dog has grown exceptionally strong compared to others, but it's because she is burning with immense hostility towards someone. One of them says that they cannot exclude number 10 who passed the warrior's test in just a month. Skinny Barbie thinks they are impressive, but compared to Yeon-myeong they all seem quite ordinary. Not only did he break the formation, but when he spied during his training he saw skills that even a master couldn't perform. However, recruiting him is very risky. So he decides to not bring Yeon-myeong's name up, so they have decided to recruit number 2. Since her face was disfigured it wouldn't be hard to win her heart. If she manages to win and become the young clan leader they can engage her with his nephew, which will officially make the Yahello clan the external family of the Tang clan. This will give them the power to intervene in the Tang family and slowly but steadily they will take control and merge the Tang clan with their main house. Since number 28 is dangerous if he survives this, Barbie thinks of adopting him and tempt him with the position of young clan leader of the Yahello family. What a mutt. Living in the manor they have doubled their training, but nothing beats the comfort of having a bed. As for Ijin, he barged into the room swearing to kill Yeon-myeong. Ijin brags about the poison he had made, putting his whole soul into making it. Yeon-myeong picks it up and literally drinks the entire bowl. Ijin tells him to spit it out, but Yeon-myeong makes a huge burp as Ijin falls to the ground. Yeon-myeong seems to have gained a new power after consuming it and asks Aijin that the poison is weak and if he has anything better than this. Since he doesn't believe him, Yeon-myeong mocks his poison making skills and pisses him off, but whatever he makes, Yeon-myeong drinks it as if he is drinking booze. The poisons don't affect him anymore and Aijin thinks that he is immune to all poisons. According to Yeon-myeong, he is immune, but it's just the family's core technique, the poison refining madness. Yeon-myeong thinks it's funny if people that use poison die from it. The poison that entered his body had turned into internal energy, which depends on the type of poison he is consuming, but this stage is only attainable after profound realization. Weak poisons don't affect him anymore, so he needs to find stronger poisons. There are too many things he has to take care of, but he can easily take care of the elders. But if the Black Death Alliance leader or that pervert came, Yeon-myeong can't guarantee the outcome. Although he has no grudge with the Death Alliance, they divided the Sichuan city so they cannot be ignored, and their leader is called a genius that destroyed 3 of the 9 factions. If it was his previous self, he could beat them with a flick of his finger, and thinks that if Aijin could make a poison few times stronger. Our poison boy is depressed that he can't create the Tang clan's 10 poisons. Yeon-myeong asks what it means and Aijin explains that it's the 10 strongest poisons left by the ancestors. From the first poison to the 10th, the poison gets stronger the higher the number. The 10th poison was so strong that even transcendent beings can't survive through it. Hearing this, Yeon-myeong thinks of coveting it. He asks Aijin if he can make it, but all the formulas have been lost, so Yeon-myeong again mocks his poison. Moving on to Mad Dog, she is being suppressed by a guy, but he thinks something is wrong. All of a sudden he starts burning and soon turns into ashes. This is one of the 10 poisons that her grandfather gave her in case. With the help of this, she plans to get rid of Yeon-myeong and get her revenge. Another 6 months have passed and now they have been training for 1 year. So now Wajin will select a temporary team leader, but by the 3rd year they will officially elect a leader. The leaders from each group will participate in the Gu Poison match. Since it's a life and death situation, it's best that the most outstanding member becomes the team leader. Yuri just got to know that not everyone has to participate in the Gu Poison match, so they decide to appoint Yeon-myeong not only as a team leader but a winning contender. Wajin appoints Yeon-myeong as the new temporary leader of the group. Since no one has any objection, he tells Yeon-myeong to come forward and collect the elixir called the Heavenly Heart Pill. This is a special pill that is made of rare herbs which can significantly increase internal energy depending on the user's level. The members are jealous why they are giving him such a precious item. This is because the clan has high expectations from the team leaders. Before Wajin could finish, Yeon-myeong tells him if there is anything else and if there is anything other than this elixir, since he doesn't need something like this, shocking them. Instead, our Chad wants poison, and the strongest among them something like the Tang family's 10 poisons. Yeon-myeong received a lot of weapons because he couldn't get the poison, so he requested for them instead. Mirio tries to punch him as to why he gave up the pill. Yeon-myeong tells them that he didn't actually give up the pill a few hours earlier when he was receiving the weapons. Yeon-myeong was disappointed that he didn't get the poison and asks Wajin what he is going to do with the pill. He says that he will return it to the Medicine King Hall. Yeon-myeong figures out an interesting idea that if the team members combine together and defeat the temporary leader, they can re-elect a team leader and reward them the Heavenly Heart Pill. Wajin even thinks this is a good idea since investing into the future of the Tang family is good. Hearing all this from Yeon-myeong, they rush outside to bring weapons, but actually Yeon-myeong won't comply, as once he becomes the young clan leader he will ensure that they all get a Heavenly Heart Pill. They tell Yeon-myeong to come out to fight them. A lot of time has passed and it's almost time for the tournament. Aijin has lost a total of 172 times. Moving on to the girls, they have already given up and all their time passes by seeing Yeon-myeong's handsome face. Our Chad tells Aijin to admit defeat as he will be the young clan leader, even before he has met the other teammates. Wajin tells everyone that Yeon-myeong is officially the team leader and tomorrow the Gu Poison match will begin. He further tells him that in other teams there were disqualifications and even deaths, but compared to them all members of Team 7 are safe. All the members have grown as strong as them, and finally tells Yeon-myeong that all this time the use of poison was forbidden, but in the Gu Poison match everything is permitted except the 10 poisons, and such that Yeon-myeong should give it his all. The next day Aijin hands him a case full of the deadliest poison, and even a single drop can kill a person, and warns him not to treat it as his lunchbox. Aijin tells Yeon-myeong to promise them that he will make it out alive. Yeon-myeong lets himself get hit by Aijin and assures that he will be the last person to land a hit on him. Moving on to Red Dog, she is ready for the battle. Previously the Jaegal family contacted her and offered to give her an advantageous position. She asks him in return what it is that they want. This rat tells her that their family has weakened a lot, so they would like to join forces with the Tang clan so they don't lose all their sovereignty. She tells him what he will do if she rejects him, so this sly rat tells her that he is here to build trust and asks her what it is that she wants. Her only dream is to kill Yeon-myeong and avenge herself. All the teams have appointed their leader, but we don't want to waste our time. Seeing the beautiful scenery, Yeon-myeong thinks this a perfect day for someone to die. Yeon-myeong finds the Gu match venue vast, but the skinny Barbie is peeking on Yeon-myeong. Seeing him up close, he thinks they are wasting potential, but it's best to eliminate him. Yeon-myeong stares right in the sky as if he is seeing right through the formation as he instantly rips open the sky because he felt an unpleasant gaze. According to Wajin, no one is allowed to interfere in the Gu poison match, but the Jaegal family has been sticking their nose from the beginning, but Yeon-myeong will leave them be as he can question them after the match. Skinny Barbie is extremely tired out as Yeon-myeong not only saw him, but if he didn't withdraw fast enough he would have been blinded. The bigger problem is that his swordsmanship can rip apart the space, which is unheard of. Finally, after 4 years, Barbie has figured out that Yeon-myeong is not someone that they can handle, so they must stop him by all means necessary or else he will seek revenge on them. One of the team leader is severely injured. All she wanted to do was join the force and provide for her impoverished parents and plan to withdraw, but she came across a crazy dog that wants to kill, so there's no way she can give up. That's when the dog used his nose to track her down. Although she is fast, her internal energy is not that great. She tells him that they are all from the Tang family, so he doesn't need to go so far. This ugly dog tells her that he doesn't consider himself one of them and outright beheads her. Yeon-myeong runs towards his surroundings and finds an cave to ascend to the transcendent level as his body has grown. The two condition for reaching transcendent realm is to attain enlightenment, which he already did in his past life, so Yeon-myeong breaks all the barriers he placed on his meridians. As poison spreads around his body, his internal energy skyrockets as his bones break and he undergoes metamorphosis. Although it's painful, Yeon-myeong manages to break through. To test his new powers, he uses his fingers to cut down a mountain and his usage of internal energy has decreased significantly. Moving on to that crazy dog, he is bullying that fat gorilla. This guy bullied Yeon-myeong, but karma got to him. This guy is an orphan that was raised by the grand elder as his own grandson. This guy is monstrously strong that he couldn't even touch him. Even in this situation, he is thinking about Yeon-myeong and starts laughing. Seeing this, the dog gets curious and he tells him that there is someone who is more scarier than him. So to make himself scarier, this retard tell him that he is a spy from the Black Death Alliance. Since Fatso now knows about his identity, he has to kill him, but all of a sudden his body freezes and his body starts bleeding as Yeon-myeong comes from behind and greets this Jeonjil guy, but he can't remember his face. After this arrogant loser got smoked by Yeon-myeong, we now see his past. We don't want to know anyways, but someone told him that with his monstrous talent and pretending to be an orphan, he will easily be adopted, and during the family head selection, if he kills the successors and returns to the family, he will be recognized. How generic, but watch the video, it gets way better. Moving to the present, filterless TikToker feels like his organs are melting, but he can't figure out how Yeon-myeong did all this without noticing him. The fat gorilla Jeonjil can't believe that the person standing in front is Yeon-myeong. Our chat asks him what that half-dead dude is called. He is literally called Ganja. I have nothing more to say. Yeon-myeong had felt an anger before coming to this mountain and thinks it was this guy. Suddenly Yeon-myeong moves his hand, a needle comes out from his neck. The Jeonjil guy figures are that Yeon-myeong poisoned him but can't figure out what kind of poison uses such a small needle, but Yeon-myeong ignores him and asks him if he has seen the other participants. The fat brain tells Yeon-myeong that they should first detoxify this Ganja dude, and he thinks that if Yeon-myeong shows vulnerability while detoxifying he can kill him. Obviously that's in his dreams. Jeonjil tells Yeon-myeong that he has changed a lot but gets nervous as he feels that Yeon-myeong only has resentment towards him. Yeon-myeong tells him that if he had that he would be lying on the ground. All of a sudden this dumb bulldozer apologizes to Yeon-myeong for what happened earlier, but Yeon-myeong doesn't care about the past. This guy didn't think that this would solve things from the past. Yeon-myeong probably left him alive as he is too dumb. While they were talking, the Ganja dude all high tries to sneak an attack on Yeon-myeong and tells himself that since he is going to die he will take Yeon-myeong with him. Dude thinks he is the protagonist and slashes at Yeon-myeong. All that leads to him cutting through an afterimage. Yeon-myeong gets behind him and tells him that he doesn't play with people who are about to die. Like a Chad, he grabs his shoulder and tells him to not retaliate or he won't have a body to bury. As he gets poisoned to death, Jeonjil is shocked that as always Yeon-myeong overpowers his enemy even if he is one of the top contenders, but what's more confusing to him is that final technique was from the black and white sword school, but Yeon-myeong neutralized it easily. Yeon-myeong tells him that it's just him that's left, so how should they determine the victor? Jeonjil is smart enough to surrender and Yeon-myeong allows it, but he can't find a way to get out, so Yeon-myeong rips apart the formation. This is outright savage as he tells him to get out from here. Afterwards he instantly vanishes from the place. In some other place we see hundreds of men practicing swordsmanship and see a worm die in his hand which was transplanted into that Ganja dude, so basically he is dead. Although he was an illegitimate child he had with a servant, his talents were out of this world compared to his siblings, so if his wife found about it she would lose the position of heir, so he intended to kill him multiple times. That's why he left him in the Tang clan with a different identity, but as a father he couldn't do anything, so he will avenge his child and tells all his disciples to assemble and tells them that they are going to destroy the Tang clan soon, and from today onwards no one with the Tang clan name will return alive from Mount Gongsan. This is where the competition is happening. At night Yeon-myeong thinks to himself that after running day and light he didn't encounter a single human, so no matter how vast this world may be it's too hard to believe. As he gobbles up the meat, Yeon-myeong didn't expect that they would deliberately fake it so they couldn't approach, and if that's the case the remaining survivors are from the Yahello family, and figures out the entire plan they were scheming is such he has to pay the price for his crime. Yeon-myeong stares at the sky to find it stunning and sleeps as he wonders about his mother. That's when that red dog found Yeon-myeong. What a timing, but this retard can't recognize Yeon-myeong, and she was supposed to meet the last survivor or Yeon-myeong. She can't figure out his identity, however is regrettable that she has to kill someone so handsome. As he spreads the poison distribution gas and uses the 10 poisons of Tang clan, Yeon-myeong suddenly grabs onto her neck and asks her if she is cooperating with the Yahello family. Our Chad tells her that while everyone was competing she found a safe place and tried to sneak onto the last person alive. As the dog gets hungry for a bone she figures out that our Chad knew that she was coming. Yeon-myeong tells her that if she wants to breathe she better answer him, gender equality at its peak. Yeon-myeong thinks of killing Red Dog since she won't answer. As for her, she mistakenly dropped her sword, looks more like a dagger. Our Chad figures out that she is Red Dog, but she can't figure out how he knows her name. Yeon-myeong is so merciless that he tells her that her personality didn't change one, so he should probably destroy her entire face. Moving on to Skinny Barbie, he is scared that the mission failed and Yeon-myeong managed to defeat opponents with higher levels. This guy played too many games, he literally destroyed your formations. Number 10 managed to defeat all his opponents but got owned by Yeon-myeong, but this Barbie is in doubt if Red Dog can defeat our boy, and if Yeon-myeong wins it's over for them. That's when he notices a source of light in the formation. It's that crazy dog's father, let's call him Minion. According to his friends they had bought in a total of 300 people, although it's excessive, but this guy isn't so dumb as he thinks the survivors will be more cautious so they should be careful. His friend asks him how's the spy he planted doing, but he failed so he is very concerned about it. Our Skinny Barbie sneaked into their conversation, and according to him this guy is crazy strong. He figures out that if they didn't have a spy how would they know the location, so he should contact the family and security forces. All of a sudden an idea pops up that he can kill Yeon-myeong with their help. Moving on to our boy, Red Dog thinks that she will die so she can only survive if she uses the Red Dragon's poison. As she takes it out Yeon-myeong notices that the dagger is coated in some substance. As he gets distracted she tries to throw it onto Yeon-myeong, but our Chad grabs it and tells her to answer him what this is. After making a face like that he figures out that the dagger was coated in it, so he put Red Dog onto the ground and gets ready to feed it to her. Nano Machine, you have a new competitor. Yeon-myeong wants her to experience the poison. As he gets ready to force it into her mouth she tells him that it's a specially formulated drug and he thinks that this poison is special. Dude wants to drink it as if it's wine. If he consumes it everything will be easy for Yeon-myeong. She tells Yeon-myeong to spare her, but he gets all serious and asks her if she colluded with the Yahello family, and if she hesitates to answer he will feed the poison to her. She tells him everything they planned including the marriage proposal. Hearing this Yeon-myeong figures out that they are trying to strengthen their family through this offer. As he thinks of what to do with the Yahello family he drinks the poison. Shocking Red Dog, these faces are so funny. She can't believe he is consuming one of the 10 poisons of Tang family and starts laughing as Yeon-myeong's face starts burning, and she literally goes crazy laughing like you guys who do the same hearing my lame jokes. She brags about how she is the only person who can neutralize this and whatnot. She can't understand why the grip strength hasn't decreased, but Yeon-myeong gets normal and finds it very spicy. What was this, a bottle of Naga sauce? She thinks that it's absolutely impossible for someone to survive after consuming it as it contains the blood of a legendary being and a single drop of his blood could kill thousands. Before she finishes her speech Yeon-myeong buries her head into the ground and kill her. Rest in peace Red Dog, you will be remembered. After consuming the poison Yeon-myeong feels that he has learned the martial art of the sun, and as he was about to leave he notices a sun when it's midnight now. Suddenly many changes occur and Yeon-myeong finds himself in some other place. It's probably the work of Skinny Barbie. Yeon-myeong uses his senses to find many presences, and according to him there are a bit over 300 people. Since the prey has walked in, Yeon-myeong thinks of freeing his hand, dips his needles into the poison Ijin made. Skinny Barbie informs Wajin that there are intruders as there was a spy among them who revealed their location. He then tells him that how there were over 300 troops led by the Dark Moon leader Mak Inhu, but we will still call him Minion. Wajin can't figure out why they are in Sichuan and how can they find this palace which is hidden by the 7 Lock Phantom formation. Our musclehead tells him that they should hurry up, but this skinny retard tells him that how they entered the inner world of where the poison match is happening, so they made it impossible to intervene, so they have no choice but to rely on the kids. Moving on to Yeon-myeong, he has slaughtered hundreds of them with his poison needles. Minion finds his child and gets devastated. His ally tells him that it looks like Crazy Dog was killed with a poison needle without any struggle, so he died one-sidedly. This hypocrite talks about honor when he wanted to kill a clan's foundation, so he loses his mind and tells his disciples to search for anyone from the Tang family. As all the groups gets dispatched, he swears to not leave anyone alive. Bro, this old loser is fighting some kids and acts high and mighty. The disciples talk to themselves about how the leader is acting weirdly, and the Tang family is not to be underestimated as they killed Ganja in a single strike. Unfortunately, as they were talking, one of them gets poisoned to death with the same poison needle. They get ready to battle, but soon notice that hundreds of poison needles are raining down from the sky as they all get poisoned to death. The poison Aegean made lethal enough for foot soldiers as he uses his inner energy to call back all the needles. Man, this was sick, not gonna lie. A scout tell Minion that all the groups dispatched got annihilated and all of them were poisoned without any struggle and killed the same way. More scouts come and informs his the same thing, and now Minion is nervous and their number has significantly decreased. According to his friend, in an hour of searching they have already lost more than 100 of their men. As such, he figure out this was possibly done by one person. Minion is scared enough to pee in his pant and thinks without a doubt that it's the work of a master from the Tang family. Minion gathers up courage and leaves the command to his friend as he plans to face the enemy himself. His friend thinks in an hour or two the sun will set, and if they can't find the intruder before that, they can get annihilated, as they are the only ones suffering, so he tells everyone that they will leave in an hour. But bad luck, Yeon-myeong is sitting in a tree waiting for them. But this monkey can't believe that he didn't feel a presence until he talked. He tells everyone to dodge but looks behind to see everyone dead as Yeon-myeong asks him if he is the leader. Even on high alert, he didn't sense Yeon-myeong coming down from the tree, but he is too young to be a master. Yeon-myeong uses his chi to call back all the needles. Dude is outright badass. This guy thinks he is Einstein as he tries to figure out how strong Yeon-myeong is, and what he did earlier was a technique and it probably consumes a lot of inner energy. He tells Yeon-myeong that he has never seen him, but our Chad tells him it doesn't matter what he thinks or does as he is going to die anyways. This monkey uses a technique and directly transforms into Super Saiyan 4 and charges towards Yeon-myeong, but to his surprise with a single palm Yeon-myeong stops it and mocks him by saying if that's all he has got, and this monkey loses his mind. In a flashback we learn that once the Black Death Alliance took down one of the 9 factions, so this monkey willingly joined them. So as a reward the leader decides to refine the palm technique for him. His technique, Peak Shaking Palm, was renamed. This black leader thinks since he improved it should be called Heaven Quake Palm, but he can't believe such a technique was bested by a young kid. The poison Yeon-myeong drank was the fire dragon's venom. When mastered as deadly as sword chi is filled with intent to cut down anything would be known as sword force. Similarly, venom chi filled with the intent to burn anything would be venomous force. As the Heaven Quake Palm slowly shatters and this monkey instantly burns to his death. As such, Yeon-myeong decides to name it the Fiery Venom Force. Then our Chad moves on to the remaining survivors and asks them who wants to die first, since he has no intention of leaving any of them alive. That's when the minion enters the scene, acting all strong as he gives his bold speech. He tells everyone to get into a formation and surround Yeon-myeong, but look at his face, guys. Surrounded by the enemy, the old man promises to avenge the dead. This reminds Yeon-myeong of the training he did with the Bangui Bridage. Last time he did the whirling chaos dance, so this time he will do something different as he disappears and their heads start flying left and right, but little minion can't figure out his movements as the enraged disciples charge towards him. Yeon-myeong destroys their sword mid-air and uses the broken sword particles infused with his chi. He recreates the 10,000 heavenly flower rain. Isn't this cool? As Yeon-myeong walks, dozens are getting shredded into pieces, and although it's not strong as the original, so Yeon-myeong names it Iron Shard Volley. Since everyone is dead and Minion thinks Yeon-myeong is tired after killing this many disciples and gets ready to attack him and decides to use all the techniques the alliance leader bestowed upon him. As he uses all of his ultimate attacks, Yeon-myeong yawns and blocks all of his techniques. As such, Yeon-myeong has decided to be merciful and show him the silent sword technique. Minion can't believe that Yeon-myeong is able to handle the silent sword technique. Yeon-myeong tells him that it's rather a simple technique, shocking Minion's face. Yeon-myeong make that meme face and Minion thinks that it took him years to master this technique, but it's easy for him. Yeon-myeong tells him that he killed someone earlier who used the same technique, but he knows that they are all under the Black Death Alliance and knows that Lizard in the form of a human can improve any martial arts. That's why independent martial artists leave their former life to devote themselves to the Black Death Alliance. But Yeon-myeong is disappointed by the fact that this is a trivial technique that someone can easily imitate it. Minion got shocked too many times in a single chapter. Yeon-myeong is cruel enough to mock the leader and tells Minion that the lizard didn't have enough faith in him. Since he is so arrogant, Yeon-myeong will show him the actual power of this technique. As Yeon-myeong releases his chi, the dagger increases length. For those who have reached a transcendental level, they can manipulate it. As such, he uses Blade River, ripping apart this inner world in two. Damn, this looks cool. This minion can't believe that a human can use such a technique. Since Yeon-myeong is able to handle so much energy with ease, he must have reached the final stage, in other words the transcendent stage, but Yeon-myeong read his mind as the minion turns into a rat and runs away. Archad tells him that there is no point in running when he suddenly makes that meme face and thinks of using the Tang clan's technique. As the newly born rat runs, he thinks how it's possible for a kid to reach the final stage, that too from the fallen Tang clan. Yeon-myeong's ninja-like spinning blades start attacking him as the rat tries to stop them with his sword. More of them surround him, but this evolved rat managed to hold his ground, but slowly but steadily he gets injured and survives at the cost of an arm. This rat has so much trash in his head that he thinks he can survive, as Yeon-myeong must have wasted a lot of energy using this skill. Yeon-myeong enters the scene and using his chi on the rings, and they start spinning on the ground, shocking this retard, as the spinning blades surround him and the rat gets chopped into pieces. Yeon-myeong enjoyed this place a lot as he used multiple techniques and there's no one alive, so Yeon-myeong decides to leave this place. Archad forms energy around his dagger and thinks that he will fix the elder in the Jaegal clan and make each one of them pay. As Yeon-myeong rips open the formation, this never gets old. Moving to this skinny Barbie, it continues to lie to everyone about how they can't intervene to make the competition fair. What a liar. Everyone present can't believe his words, but in reality this ugly trash can enter the formation anytime he wants, but since he sealed it, no one can make it out of the competition alive. And according to his informants, the Dark and White clan leader is here with 300 of his disciples, which will be impossible for Yeon-myeong to handle. As this donkey covered in makeup talks nonsense again, he sees everyone making an happy reaction. Looking back, he sees Yeon-myeong staring right at him. Yeon-myeong's friends rush to hug him and he tells them that no one was able to hurt him. With a smile on his face, Yeon-myeong stares directly at the shocked skinny Barbie. Barbie cannot understand how it is possible that he is alive, and if the 300 soldiers were completely useless, he notices Yeon-myeong's glare and hides his face with a folding fan. The Jeonjil dude greets Yeon-myeong and he smirks at him, but Barbie is still in disbelief how he is able to cut through the 7 legendary formation of the Jaegal clan, which even a master won't be able to do, and gets suspicious that Yeon-myeong is above a master. Yeon-myeong wants to immediately kill him, but he can't take chances until he becomes the head. So he first decides to take care of the Tang clan elders. As Yeon-myeong was about to explain to him what had happened, the surroundings suddenly started shaking and the entire formation starts breaking down. Everyone can see what had happened inside the inner world. They see hundreds of dead bodies. Wajin is in amaze that he handled this May by himself, and even he would find it difficult to deal with more than 30 of them, but after seeing the dead body of that evolved rat earlier known as Minion, they are literally acting like girl in concerts as he is extremely strong. Yeon-myeong is literally a top-tier protagonist. He tells Wajin that they weren't hard to deal with as it was expected from him. Wajin thinks his power is already beyond the head. All the remaining contestants can't believe that he did all this by himself and is probably beyond the final stage and whatnot. Hearing this, Yuri and the rest are proud for some reason. Now we unfortunately have to give some screen time to White Monkey as he feels extremely angry knowing that he got crippled while Yeon-myeong got stronger and he was someone he could beat anytime he wanted. Wajin makes an announcement that the competition is concluded and names Yeon-myeong the winner, and if anyone has objections they can come forward, but sad that this cripple can't do much with a broken hand. As Yeon-myeong is now named the winner, they all assemble in front of him and Wajin thinks finally they have hope of reviving the Tang clan through Yeon-myeong. All 82 members aside from Wajin greets Archad as their new head. Mirio and Yuri thinks if they have to speak formally with Yeon-myeong, Wajin thinks to himself that if Yeon-myeong is trained right he can be the next big thing, which obviously our overpowered Chad can read, and tells them that it won't take that much time and soon become a reality. Hearing this they all get reassured and is ready to follow Yeon-myeong, and his first orders are for all of them to go to the main house. As for the money, he is pissed that Yeon-myeong got everything and he will get his revenge even if he has to sell his soul. Chill bro, it's not worth that much, as he transforms into a deformed omelet. After they all left the scene, the joint sect Taeho along with his fat assistant Hyunso. They were nearby but can't believe that more than 300 people have been killed. But they think that no matter what, the younger generation are monsters, as with even a number less than 100 in the mountain they could do it. But this Taeho thinks something is wrong that such a thing happened, but none of them were aware as over the year the Tang clan sent them valuables in honor of the tournament. Hyunso thinks that the Tang clan's blade technique declined very much, but when Taeho tells him that it was done by a short blade, shocking this fat panda. According to his analysis, these people were dealt in seconds sand, so all of them were killed by one person, so he must see this person and decides to go to Sichuan. Hyunso is worried that while going to Sichuan if they come across them, but Taeho is confident as he has reached the top. Remember, Evolved Rat also behaved like this and got owned by Yeon-myeong. Hyunso thinks that it is best if they first visit the family, so this Taeho dude agrees to it. At the moment the Black Death Alliance is in the south while the demonic cult is in the west, and for the joint faction they are currently in a tough spot. So his master wanted to meet the Tang clan master who was in a similar situation. As he leaves spilling rubbish. If I narrated more of this boring trash you guys would leave. Moving on to the main house, the ugly ginger was scribbling trash on paper when one of them informs him that the competition is over and all the participants are back. He thinks the competition ended faster than expected, but with Red Dog having the poison it wouldn't be too hard to win the competition, but the informants burst his bubble and tells him that among them he didn't see Red Dog. Moving on to the main gate, the guard are discussing about who will win the competition as they notice our Chad leading people and everyone is gathered to know who the winner is, but before that all the women present are going crazy seeing our Rizgod. They thought most of them would be dead, but a lot of them managed to survive. Seeing Jianjil happy if you think that he is new head. But sadly many of them didn't survive the competition. Seeing them, Yeon-myeong thinks that his mother would also be worried about him, but he is more worried about what he should do if she doesn't recognize him. Yuri takes this opportunity to show Yeon-myeong her father, who is relieved to see his daughter being alive. Yeon-myeong asks her if she is asking him to take care of, well, she doesn't deny, but he is very skilled, but he didn't get promoted because he didn't suck up to anyone. Yeon-myeong finds this as an opportunity to make people who are on odds with elders his own, but he doesn't know much about Aijin and Mirio. The current head of the Tang clan, let's call him Crippled Chicken, greets everyone, and this skinny Barbie starts smooth talking him, and this crippled chicken praises him how their formation helped the Tang family and they were comfortably able to host the competition, but little does he know that it broke. Since he is done greeting, he tells everyone to go meet the elders and the warriors are dismissed so they can rest. Wajin apologizes to them, but they will not go to the elders' house, shocking this to house animals. The chicken star questioning Wajin, but as the person of Yeon-myeong, he tells him that as per the family rules they were supposed to visit the stealth and poison hall rather than the elders' house. This crippled chicken gets pissed and tells Wajin to disperse or else her will punish them for protesting, shocking everyone, and according to Wajin they are clearly showing that not to talk back to the elders. Yeon-myeong intervenes and asks him if there is anyone who has more power than the family head, and after asking for his identity Yeon-myeong tells him that he is the winner of the competition. This chicken goes back to its den and informs its masters that the winner is called Yeon-myeong. This ginger-faced can't accept that Yeon-myeong won the competition and thinks about how his grandchild can lose even after having the red dragon's poison. The Grand Elder is confused how his disciple that he personally recognized and before the competition he was sure that Yeon-myeong was not as strong as him, so he is growing every day as they speak. As these retards talk about what to do they come to a conclusion that they should meet up with Yeon-myeong directly. The third elders asks Chicken why he didn't bring them here. Earlier Yeon-myeong told him that only the head can order the heir, and since that position is vacant it doesn't mean the elders can order in their place. As this crippled chicken tells Yeon-myeong that he hasn't been officially declared the heir yet. Hearing this, Yeon-myeong releases his inner energy, almost making this chicken lay its eggs, and as such everyone will follow him to the poison and stealth department and wants this chicken to inform the elders that their reign is over. As the crippled chicken shakes in fear he repeats the words Yeon-myeong told him. The elder gets so pissed he destroys a table and tells everyone that Yeon-myeong hasn't been selected as the official heir so they can question his attitude and strip him of his qualifications, so they will go to the poison and stealth hall and all elders assembles their private force. Since our Chad challenged the authorities of the elder and misbehaved, they will show him who the master of the Tang family is. Yeon-myeong's uncle can't believe that he won the competition. He felt his aura as a kid, but now it has surpassed him and he thinks his sister would be happy hearing this. That's when an old monkey is shocked that Yeon-myeong won the competition. He is that white monkey's father, and 3 years ago he threatened Yeon-myeong that he would make him and his mother pay for what he did to his son's hand. Yeon-myeong loses his mind and tells him that he is here and is waiting for this old trash to demand compensation from him. Before he speaks, Yeon-myeong tells him to think carefully before speaking or he might cripple his son's other hand. Wajin is in awe after learning that Yeon-myeong is the son of the Poison Phoenix. Yeon-myeong tells him that what he wants to know our Chad will tell him once the time is right, because the Tang clan faced that TikToker, but he used so much filters that he managed to behead the Tang clan leader, making his soldier more courageous as they push forward disregarding their poison techniques. Wajin asked the help of the elder, but they rejected them as their fall would lead to the clan's downfall. If they helped even a bit the damage would be greatly reduced, but after winning the battle they blamed it all onto Yeon-myeong's mother. So she must have faced a lot of difficulties raising Yeon-myeong. He tells the others that they must remember who the mother of their current master is. It's as if they have been given a second chance. That's when Wajin hears a noise. It's the voice Yeon-myeong has been waiting for, as the elders are all here with their forces and wants to meet Yeon-myeong after defying the council. Wajin is nervous as he didn't expect that they would gather all their forces. He doesn't want to hear anything and wants to meet Yeon-myeong. Our Chad comes to meet them at stairs at their comedy, as he tells Yeon-myeong that he dared to claim the future leader of the family without their permission. Yeon-myeong tells him that he has already won their competition and currently he is verifying the fairness at the Stealth and Poison Hall, overseeing the competition as such. What more does he need? All the elder are protesting because of the way he is talking to them. The arrogant retard warns him that if he wants to lead he has to explain everything that happened at the competition. Yeon-myeong tells them that it's against the rules of the family to talk about the competition, and it seems to Yeon-myeong that the weight of the family rules is lighter than expected. This loser says that he heard from the Jaegel clan that people from the Dark Moon sect and the Sword sect with nearly 300 people attacked them since they interfered. The competition should not be considered fair. Yeon-myeong tells them that Ganja and Red Dog killed all participants and our Chad finished them off. As Yeon-myeong was finishing his sentence, the old ginger loses his mind and asks him to repeat it, so Yeon-myeong tells him to go visit the place himself. This old hag charges towards Yeon-myeong, but in front of this mosquito our Chad stops his attack with a single hand as he mocks him because he is pissed over the death of his grandchild. This old retard can't believe that Yeon-myeong managed to block his attack so easily until he has surpassed the internal strength he has cultivated for decades. The trash tries to attack again, but Yeon-myeong shows him the bottle of the red dragon's poison. The old trash asks him where he got it and Yeon-myeong drops it to the ground and it starts burning the ground, and Yeon-myeong tells everyone that it's the Tang clan's top 10 poison. Wajin wants to confirm it and Yeon-myeong tells them that it's the red dragon's poison and the person who handled the storage was this third elder. Yeon-myeong tells everyone that is the Tang family's top 10 poison is so trivial that people can use it for their personal greed. Wajin tells him that the top 10 poisons are the most deadliest of all, and since their recipes are lost they are limited, and in the clan they are worth more than any gold or treasure. Since he used it for personal use he will be charged according to the family rules. As Yeon-myeong smirks at this ginger that even if he holds the title of elder he isn't immune from the clan's law. Look at his face, looks like a zombie from Walking Dead. As such Yeon-myeong will give him an honorable death as he burns him into ashes in front of everyone present in the family, and none of them have the right to judge the seat of the family head, so Yeon-myeong will decide what is right and what is wrong. The Grand Elder, let's call him Smelly Mongoose, blames his men that they can't subdue a single person. Yeon-myeong tells him that the disciple of Grand Elder has endangered the family. But he doesn't do anything, so Yeon-myeong tells him that he is a spy from the Dark Moon sect. The Smelly Mongoose tries to make excuses and wants Yeon-myeong to provide evidence. Jeonjil, the son of the director, steps forwards and tells everyone that he is the sole witness to this, and Crazed Dog used his sword techniques on him before Yeon-myeong killed him. He further tells them how he used sword technique mixed with his poison and stealth techniques. One of the elders tells him that he saw that guy using his sword technique and all his peers were badly injured, but the wounds were similar to the ones Jeonjil has on his body. Our more matured musclehead even tells them how this dog confessed to him that he is a spy. Yeon-myeong wanted to use him as a spy, but he never expected him to come forward, since he owes Yeon-myeong his life. Hearing his confession, the Grand Elder is now in a tough position and doesn't know what to do and tells the elders to block Yeon-myeong, but they don't respond, and Yeon-myeong tells him that is his status light that he can ignore the clan head's orders since he wasn't proven to be involved directly with Crazy Dog. Yeon-myeong instantly cuts his hand off, as even he cannot escape the accusation of harboring a spy. Yeon-myeong decides to spare his life as there wasn't enough evidence of his collusion. Yeon-myeong's swordsmanship was so fast that he couldn't see it, but this mongoose hit a poison, which is very strong, although it's not as strong as the top 10 poison. It's colorless and odorless. Yeon-myeong drinks poison as if it's a protein shake. Nevertheless, as the poison spreads in the air, this smelly trash thinks he has succeeded in his plan. Yeon-myeong notices that this loser spread a poison in the air, so our savage Chad chops his other hand as well. Obviously one dog is barking that Yeon-myeong has gone mad since he said it with his own mouth that he would consider mercy. That when another elder tells him to look at the Grand Elder's severed hand, the object near his hand is a poison bottle. Yeon-myeong finds it disgraceful to the family that the Grand Elder would try to poison the head of the clan, so according to the clan's rules and because of his crime he will be deemed as a traitor and gets executed in front of everyone, and warns everyone that all of them are not above the Tang clan's laws. If any of them were to disobey the head or break the laws, Yeon-myeong would punish them himself. If this continues, the clan will collapse anytime, but Yeon-myeong promises that the members will not be exposed to the threat of the pervert and the lizard sect and cults. Yeon-myeong tells the elders if they acknowledge our Chad as the rightful head of the Tang family. Onto Yeon-myeong's mother yard, the nanny starts crying as our Chad won the family head competition, and because of his overwhelming power even the elders had to acknowledge him. She is proud of her son, but man, they upgraded her art, now she looks way too pretty. Moving on to our Chad, he wanted to meet his mother and inform her first, but there are a mountain of tasks that he has to handle. As per Yeon-myeong's orders that all the issues will be handled by the Stealth and Poison Hall and all key decisions will be need the family head's approval. Although most of the elders are displeased, Elder O is the only one who expresses concerns and tells Yeon-myeong that he can act as a regent until Yeon-myeong grows up. Our Chad thinks it's a good idea, but he will decide later who will take over the regency. After investigations, the poison hall concluded that the third elder indeed misplaced the red dragon's poison. Yeon-myeong has decided that the elder can keep their personal forces, but they will have to bear the cost of maintaining themselves, and if they set a budget for that, it would be nulled as of this moment. Since two factions under the elders had no one to lead them, they are combined into the shadow troop assigned to the stealth and poison hall. Yeon-myeong adjusted their salaries and like a savage tell them that they are outright trash, so they should prove their worth or else they will be dismissed. A few days later, Yeon-myeong summoned the Jaegal clan, and Skinny Barbie can't believe that Yeon-myeong used force to topple over the elders council and all of their plan have failed miserably. He thinks no one might know about what they did in the competition. Dude really thinks Yeon-myeong is a retard. Our handsome Chad in new clothes tells him that he was busy so he forgot about a few things. Barbie can't believe that Yeon-myeong looks so different. Barbie tells that what is the reason they were summoned, and Yeon-myeong tells them the Jaegal family's formation is great, so he should make the main clan's formation for the Tang clan. Barbie tells him that he cannot do it without the head's permission, so Yeon-myeong throws a needle and instantly kills everyone other than him, and Yeon-myeong says that he already knows about their plan of trying to take over the Tang clan, and if he is dumb enough to think that he would ignore all this. According to the clan's rules, he will pay the Jaegal clan 10 times back if he doesn't hear a positive response on the count of 3. Our Chad will personally go to Jaegal clan and annihilate it himself. So this Barbie has no choice but to agree to Yeon-myeong, in return wants him to spare his family members, so Yeon-myeong will trust it to be done. Moving to the story, it's been a few days since Yeon-myeong became the clan leader. Currently he called in his friends, but they seems to be extremely nervous in front of him. Mirio is scared and asks Yeon-myeong why he called them, calling him by the name family head. Hearing this, our Chad laugh and tells them if they are mad enough to maintain formality with him. So they start acting like barbarian. Looking at them, it seemed like Yeon-myeong is a teacher and allowed her students to never study in class. Yuri asks our boy what is the reason he called them here. Yeon-myeong tells her that he has appointed her father as the chief officer, shocking the other two barbarians. He tells her that her father is a very capable person and have caught a golden opportunity that he should seize. Yuri also wants this, but she is worried that if he decides like this there will be retaliation. Our Chad says that silencing a few opposing voices is easy for him, but if her father was to show off his connections and neglects his duties or secretly embezzles fund, he would be dead. Yuri stops him and tells our Chad that her father is not that kind of a person. Since his position is decided, he tells Yuri to assist him in adapting to the chief officer's duty. Yeon-myeong thinks to himself that if Yuri's father were to follow what he did, there would be no need to worry. I downed on my jokes because I am not getting any money because of them. Moving on to Yuri, she is still crying like a little girl. As for Mirio and Ijin, our Chad would like to hear their current situation, that is the reason he called them. If there are people with outstanding capabilities but are suppressed out, ostracized, he plans to take them under him. As Yeon-myeong talks, Mirio tells him that she doesn't have anyone to recommend. Yeon-myeong asks Ijin that he is related to the Medicine King Hall and wants to know the condition of that place. Hearing this, Ijin has gone dead silent. He tells Yeon-myeong that he has been wondering all this time if he should talk about the Medicine King Hall because all this is related to our boy, specifically his father. Hearing this, Yeon-myeong's reaction changes, and this involves the ones who were related to his father's poisoning. Behind all of this was the Medicine King Hall. Mirio cannot believe and asks Ijin if he is sure it's the Medicine King Hall. Yuri turns into Gorilla Barbie and tells everyone that Yeon-myeong should split their head for laying a hand on the family head's father. Our Chad tells her to shut up and wants Ijin to continue what he was saying. The Medicine King's Hall is so secluded within the main house that not even the elders' influence can reach there. All studies related to medicine and toxicology are conducted. Furthermore, they maintain their finances through treating patients and selling medicine materials. Even after that Heavenly Perverts incident, the Tang clan survived because of the Medicine Hall's support. They earned the funds necessary for the Tang clan's maintenance cost. Ijin is shivering in anger as he tells Yeon-myeong that the leader of the Medicine King Hall was his grandfather. Mirio tells him that he was dismissed because of some reason. During his time as the leader, there was someone who visited the hall daily. It was Yeon-myeong's father. After the invasion, those resentful of the Medicine King Hall increased, but if anyone slandered the Medicine King, he would stand up for them. But since he was a scholar without any internal strength, the aftermath of a physical fight was evident on his body. According to Yeon-myeong, if someone with no internal energy is hit by an attack carrying inner force, they cannot dissipate the energy and end up suffering deep internal injuries. Despite all this, his father still fought through. Ijin goes deeper into the story and talks about the person who was holding the position of vice leader of Medicine Hall King. We will name him Froggy, which is pretty accurate if you look at his face. A dispute broke out when this fat Froggy was caught by Yeon-myeong's father slandering his mother. Instead of reflecting, this frog tried to use martial arts when he was losing the argument. It stopped only after his grandfather intervened. Because of this, Froggy was excluded from being a candidate for the next leader. Before we continue, I can't understand how Yeon-myeong's mother was the young clan leader but she never retaliated. Anyways, moving to Yeon-myeong, he asks Aijin if that Froggy harbored resentment and poisoned his father. Aijin starts crying and tells him that after poisoning Yeon-myeong's father, he killed Aijin's father and poisoned his grandfather. Furthermore, this frog imprisoned him. Hearing all this, Mirio is shocked that all of this happened and none of this wasn't made known. Ever since his grandfather was poisoned, he was not in his right mind, so even if he explained the situation, no one would step forward. So that's why he entered the competition, and during this 3 years they wouldn't kill someone who knew the truth about this incident. As Aijin cries about going to see his grandfather's condition, but he is too afraid to go there, so he apologizes to Yeon-myeong that it will be hard to find talents he seeks in the Medicine King Hall. Yeon-myeong asks Aijin why is the vice leader still keeping his grandfather alive, and it would be better to silence him by killing him. As Aijin cries, he tells Yeon-myeong that according to him there is a secret division in the medicine hall that even the elders aren't aware of. Inside there is an inner pill made from a mythical creature that lives in lava. Looks like a Pokemon to me, and I can't help but appreciate this unique art. It is called the 10,000-year fire carp. Hearing this, Yuri is shocked and Mirio can't believe that it exists. Yeon-myeong is confused as usually an inner pill is just an item that enhances internal strength. Aijin says that 100 years ago there is a tale that the lesser lord of the fiery sun palace took the inner pill of a 10,000 fire carp and ascended to the realm of fire realm. He says that the inner pill of it contains extremely strong poison, and if it is taken without neutralizing the poison, if consumed 9 out of the 10 times, it leads to death. If the poison is removed forcefully, the effects would be lessened. Hearing all this, Yeon-myeong says if there is anyone who won neutralized by anyone except his grandfather, the former leader. Aijin tells his that Froggy's goal is to consume the inner pill and reach the fire realm. Afterwards, he plans to lead his followers out of the Tang clan and become the head of his own sect. Everyone present in the room is shocked hearing that a 2-feet frog is planning all this. Yeon-myeong thinks this guy is stupid to think that consuming inner pill and reaching the fire realm, but this realm is one where he would not receive true enlightenment, which is precisely the fire realm, in other words a realm below the transcendent realm. The 3 years Chad spent with him, he never showed his worries after all that happened and instead smiled in front of everyone. Yeon-myeong thanks Aijin for telling him everything he has gone through and asks him that if he were to purge the current member and cure his grandfather, would the Medicine King Hall be able to function properly? If he was just poison, Yeon-myeong can take care of it and wants an answer from him. Aijin is confident that it is possible and he thinks he is less capable than the current leader. Yeon-myeong is happy to hear his answer and tells Mirio that he will hear her story after dealing with the Medicine King Hall, which she agrees wholeheartedly. Yeon-myeong tells Aijin to get ready to visit the Medicine King Hall, but he tells our boy that he hasn't visited his mother since coming to the main house. Yeon-myeong says that she would understand that he cannot leave his duties as the family head. She wouldn't want him to stand idly after hearing what his friend has endured, and today is the day our Chad will erase the Medicine Clan Hall from the Tang clan. Moving on to the Medicine King Hall, the fat frog is tensed that the son of Tang Longriang became the family head, which is an annoying development, but he thinks what he did was before he was born, so he wouldn't be aware of what he did to his father. But what's troubling is that Aijin hasn't returned to the Medicine King Hall yet, and she isn't the type to abandon her grandfather. Wait, what? I thought she was a boy. This deformed trash smiles and thinks that she valued her life over that of her grandfather and is confident that he can kill her anytime. The biggest problem currently is the inner pill, and to fully absorb the inner pill's energy and reach the fire realm, the old man won't open his mouth even if he regains his sanity, which is a hindrance to his plan. This frog thinks of removing the poison himself, but if he messes it up he could lose the entire inner pill. As he thinks of a better solution, an attendant knocks on this frog's door and tells him that the family head is here, shocking him, and he leaks his pants. Outside the hall, the Bangui brigade is dragging and beating the people of the medicine hall, serves them right. And the person leading the charge is our mega Chad Yeon-myeong. Looking at his face, he is probably going to slaughter everyone. The tadpoles are shouting and tells them if they have forgotten where they are. Aijin tells Yeon-myeong that she searched everywhere but couldn't find her grandfather. She searched every nook and cranny, but there isn't a single trace of him. Losing her mind, she asks the tadpoles where he is kept, but they just won't answer, so Yeon-myeong orders Wajin and he instantly rips them into pieces. That was what you call badass. Everyone captured is shocked and Yeon-myeong tells them they can keep quiet as he only needs one mouth to talk anyways. After the contest began, Froggy instructed them to imprison the former leader to a place in Nook. Hearing this, Aijin and Wajin are outright shocked. This is a place made to isolate those suspected of being infectious. Due to its cold and damp environment, it was closed because it worsened their condition. Yeon-myeong is going to that place with Ijin and orders Wajin to clean up here and wait at the entrance. As they go inside, Wajin starts slaughtering everyone present and these tadpoles beg for mercy. As they go down a narrow cave, Yeon-myeong thinks Nook is a fitting name for this place. After reaching the entrance, she starts crying, wondering if they are too late. Yeon-myeong reassures that he is still alive as he has found him using his otherworldly senses. After finding the prison, Yeon-myeong tells Ijin to step aside and chops down the prison gate. His condition has worsened and they probably used the mountain subduing poison. Yeon-myeong tells her to calm down and they came here to save her grandfather. Ijin tells our boy that aside from that they used the Thunderbolt idiocy poison, it directly affects the brain and is meant to make one an idiot rather than killing them. This poison is not strong, but it penetrates the brain, making antibodies ineffective. Without early intervention there's no way, but to our Chad this is an easy thing to do. Yeon-myeong tells her to hold him down and places his hat on him. Our Chad injects his inner energy to his body and the poison devouring frenzy starts devouring all the poison within his body. Ijin notices his hand moving. Yeon-myeong thinks that it's best to just absorb the poison as his poison devouring frenzy has devoured extreme poisons many times. His complexion starts improving and as Yeon-myeong is done devouring all the poison, he tells the old man to rise up and he opens his eyes to see his granddaughter. What's funny is that he misunderstood Yeon-myeong as his father, so they explain to him what had happened and now he is the family head. Yeon-myeong is happy that he took care of his father and old man starts crying as he was saved by a child who wouldn't see his father's face because of his fault. He talks to the dead Longrang and he would be proud to see his son if he was alive. Even though he is old, he shall devote himself to serving the family head. Our perfect protagonist hands him his coat and tells him that he is here to arrange position for the leader and Ijin. Yeon-myeong tells him that it's time to head out as people are waiting to see him. Outside, that ugly frog is making even uglier faces as he can't believe that the old man is standing firmly, figuring out that this was done by the family head. Froggy thinks to himself that a direct confrontation would be bad as he slaughtered the elders without any hesitation. This dumb frog tries to threaten Yeon-myeong by telling him that they are the haul that earns all the money and without them the clan would collapse. Yeon-myeong thinks that he doesn't understand the situation he is currently in, and turns cold, telling him if that's enough for his last words. Our Chad asks old man if he has anything to say, but he ignores this frog, so it tries to hop out of this place. Thinking he will die if he stays here, that's when his body stops moving. He got struck by a poison needle which was made by Ijin, making her qualified enough to replace him as he takes back the needle.
Clan is shocked that the medicine hall is gone and everyone there was killed. A bunch of ugly TikTokers act as if they are some specialists, talking about how the Tang clan survived thanks to the medicine hall, and getting rid of them is outright dumb. Now we move on to our Chad staring at the inner pill. Take a closer look. This looks like a Ferrero Rocher. Ejin's grandfather tells Yeon-myeong that if this pill is left out, someone like Frog Face might appear again to steal it, so he will deliver it our boy once the poison effects have worn off. Moving on to Yeon-myeong, his mouth is watering like a dog staring at a big bone. He tells the old man that he will just take it as it is. The old man looks confused and tells him that if he is not going to use it immediately, it would be best to keep it here. In the eyes of Yeon-myeong, the poison of this pill is so strong that it's viable to the naked eye. So there is no possibility that he will get rid of something so precious for you all. He is talking about the poison, not the pill. Yeon-myeong places his hand on top of the pill and starts absorbing the poison. As Yeon-myeong absorbs the poison, he thinks that the poison is extremely potent, which is expected of the inner pill of a spirit that lives in lava. Compared to the demonic fire dragon poison, this is nothing, so if an ordinary man were to took it in an unrefined state, the power of the poison might have burned them from the inside. More importantly, this is such a powerful poison, but compared to the 10 poisons it is nothing, so our Chad thinks it's best to look more into the 10 poisons. Looking at the pill after the refinement process, Yeon-myeong feels the power of the spirit and it is now ready for consumption. Yeon-myeong goes to his mother's new chambers and knocks on the door. As his mother gives him permission, our Chad enters to see his mother waiting for him. Dear artists, make a female protagonist on par with his mother. She never thought that she would be able to come to the main house again, and she is lucky to have a child like him. Yeon-myeong tells her that this place originally belonged to her, so of course she should be here. Yeon-myeong takes a closer look at her and think that although she is still pretty, however, it looks like she worried a lot about him all this time. She loses control of her emotions and runs towards our Chad, hugging him, and she is relieved that our Chad has safely returned. Yeon-myeong thinks to himself that in his past life all he could do is reflect on regretting until death came to his door, because he had no one to share his happiness even after reaching the end. Since his past life was full of regret, he plans to protect this life and live it to the fullest. Yeon-myeong asked her if she met the Manhwa brigade. Earlier they came in to help her move things and started crying. Well, that was touching. She asks Yeon-myeong what's in his hand. Our Chad tells her that this is something he brought as a gift for her. As he shows it to her, she gets shocked to see that it's a 10,000-year fire carp pill. She instantly recognized so all she has to do is use it. She thinks this will help Yeon-myeong more as he is the one who is going to lead the Tang clan. Our Chad laughs at her and tells her that he no use for the inner pill. Yeon-myeong holds her and tells her that the pill can't increase his strength anymore. As he releases his inner energy, his mother gets shocked, more because Yeon-myeong reached the fire realm, and our boy confidently confirmed her question. She is happy that her son reached the fire realm, which she should be praising, but if someone realizes it and attack the Tang family. Yeon-myeong tells her that he wants her to live a very long life, including his father's share, so he wants her to watch over him. Since the pill is dissipating, she should hurry up and consume it. She thinks she was worrying too much, and even if her son is in the fire realm, it's natural for a mother to protect their child. So she tells our Chad that since he bought it for she won't reject it. She asks Yeon-myeong if he knows what she was called when she was younger. Obviously she was named Sichuan's Top Beauty and the Poison Phoenix. She released her inner energy, and for the first time in this series our Chad is shocked. The title Poison Phoenix was given to the most famous member of the Tang family. Even she thinks that it's been a while she has seen him so shocked. Although she might not be as skilled as Yeon-myeong, she thinks she is also pretty impressive. Artists, you better make the female protagonists better or give the present ones a glow up. After consuming the pill and increasing her inner energy, she directly went straight into cultivating. Yeon-myeong was actually shocked for a moment, because although he thought she was hiding her powers, but not the extent that she would be one step closer to the fire realm, all while practicing on her own. As for her, she is consuming the pill's energy. A fire realm master is able to detect the smallest of movements, so there's no point hiding their power in front of them, but she manages to hide it from our boy, which shocked him even more. She has already reached the state before enlightenment. As such, she is absorbing the spirituality of the inner pill. So according to Yeon-myeong, she might also be able to overcome the limit. As such, she is likely to face a problem. Although the method of absorbing the inner pill is simple, all the person has to do is take the spirituality of the inner pill and absorb it into the body. Then all they have to do is internalize spiritually and repeat this process until all of it is absorbed. Yeon-myeong's mother thinks if it will be even possible to absorb such an absurd amount of energy. Even now the spirituality of the pill is slowly disappearing, so she is now worried what to do now, because at this rate the pill will disappear before she absorbs even half of it. A hand enters her spiritual space at Yeon-myeong's hand as he tells her that enlightenment doesn't come from overthinking, so she must observe her surrounding and analyze and mainly imitate it. That could lead her to gaining enlightenment. Only this time our Chad will give her a little push as Yeon-myeong energy starts touching the inner pill and slowly start fusing with it. She sees the technique and figures out that this is the Tang family's Azure Radiant Heart techniques, and figures out how it should be done. She didn't have to internalize the energy little by little, instead she has to change it into something she is familiar with and absorb it, and soon enough she gains enlightenment and absorbs all of the energy inside the inner pill. As such, Yeon-myeong confirms everyone that as she has successfully absorbed it, she has reached the fire realm.
The frog falls to its demise. Seeing him dead, the irrelevant trashes run away and the Manhwa brigade starts slaughtering them as Yeon-myeong ordered them to destroy them all. Everyone in the clan gathering at the Stealth and Poison Hall. Remember White Monkey, his father the Poison King, is crying about why they are holding a meeting early in the morning when they are all so busy. One of the elder asks Yeon-myeong's uncle when he is coming, and even if he is the clan head it's disrespectful to make them wait. We will name him Bearded Barbie. Hearing all this, he controls his anger and tells them to wait for his arrival. All of a sudden one of them announced that the clan head is coming. We now move on to our Chad and he thanks them for gathering early in the morning. And today he is going to discuss something very important with them. Bearded Monkey is confused what is so important to call them all here. Yeon-myeong tells them he is going to hire a proxy head until he is of age. Hearing this, bearded Barbie asks him who he is planning to appoint among the heads. Dude is living in his own dream, but as the Chad he is, Yeon-myeong tells him why does he think he will pick one of the elders. Shocking him, I cannot believe that this bearded Barbie thought they would be temporary head after all they did to them. All of a sudden someone enters the meeting room. Yeon-myeong uncle looks at the entrance and gets shocked. As for the elders, they are pissing their pants because they can't believe she is here after decades. Yeon-myeong thinks she is the one who was most deserving of the position. After she was held responsible for the invasion, the Council of Elders dragged her down from the position of the head. She tells everyone that she has seen a lot of familiar faces and she will stop holding herself back. I am wondering how good they have to draw the female protagonist to match her beauty. She apologizes to everyone for being late. The night before the proxy appointment, during the bath, she feels glad that she has ascended to the fire realm. But the biggest problem is that she is unable to get used to the gunk that's leaving her body. Because of this, she even showed her disgraceful side to a servant. Anyways, the biggest issue is that she is still not used to her newfound strength. After ascending to the fire realm, she finally understood Yeon-myeong better. And that he has reached the highest state in the fire realm. Currently, according to her knowledge, only the leader of the Black Death Alliance has ascended to the fire realm. To reach a realm similar to him, what must have her son gone through during the competition? She thinks that after the bath she will be able to talk a lot of things with her son for the first time in a while. Moving on to Yeon-myeong, he congratulates his mother for reaching the fire realm. She gives all the credit to our boy and tells him to have a seat. They have a wholesome conversation until she asks Yeon-myeong how he reached the fire realm, and still she cannot believe that he reached this state at this age. Yeon-myeong is not sure how to answer her, since it will be hard for her to believe that he reached enlightenment due to the memories of his past life. Yeon-myeong thinks of using the competition as an excuse, telling her if she know about how one of the 10 poisons got smuggled out. She tells him she heard about it and the winner of the commutation was awarded the fire dragon poison. Guess what he tells her that, and she goes blank. While he wasn't lying. Moving on to our boy, he tells her that even after talking it he is fine. He was addicted to poisons during a battle, so he reached enlightenment from absorbing the poison, which helped him reach the fire realm. Hearing all of this, his mother cannot believe all of this, but after thinking she gets convinced, and Yeon-myeong is relieved that she accepted it so quickly. She changes the topic and asks Yeon-myeong that when she was bathing, the servant who was helping her told her that Yeon-myeong was getting rid of the Medicine King Hall. Yeon-myeong thinks it's best to be honest with her since it's also related to his father. Yeon-myeong explains to her what they did, and after a long conversation our Chad tells her everything. She had her suspicious and feels bad for Ijin as she had suffered so much. She requests Yeon-myeong and explains to him that she lived into the family as if she is dead because she was scared of losing her only child after losing her husband. However, she has had enough, and if he allows it she will protect him from now onwards, even if she is not as strong as him. Moving to the present, everyone is shocked to see her and cannot believe that she still looks the same. A few thinks that she probably ascended. Seeing her, Yeon-myeong uncle is very happy as he shouts and tells everyone to congratulate his mother, as she will be the new head of the Tang family. Bearded Barbie turns into a turd and cannot believe that she is being promoted to the head and not a proxy. She thanks everyone and tells them although she is the head, it's only temporary until the true head, her son, comes of age. Hearing her, Yeon-myeong uncle starts crying while the rest are releasing hot cake in their pant, especially that bearded Barbie. Since she is entrusted the position of the head, she plans on fixing the base of the Tang family that was ruined. Since then her actions were unconventional. The first thing she did is remove the name of the Medicine King Hall, which was collapsing, and renamed it. Tang Hoil. Ijin's grandfather was appointed as the head surgeon while Ijin was appointed as the second in command. Moving on to Yuri's father, he was appointed as the general manager and was ordered to start a full-on investigation. He immediately found the elders' embezzlement books and recovered so much money that it was enough to sustain the clan's maintenance for the time being. Moving on to white-haired Monkey's father, he was removed from his position, along with most of the elders who embezzled the clan's money. Even for the people who were not elders but was related to embezzlement was removed from their posts. All of this changes happened in a matter of days, and thinks his mother is really an amazing person. While saying all this, our Chad is enjoying the beauty of the Tang family. Because of the involvement of his mother, the clan's internal problems were all solved. At first he wanted to live an ordinary life with his mother, but began to get surrounded by many things. There are now people who he calls friends, guards who follow and trusts him, and the hundreds of members of the Tang family. He has now so many people he has to protect. Our Chad looks so good, we demand a beautiful female protagonist. There was once a time when it was hard for him to keep his body healthy, since he was resentful that why he was even born. His goal is to grow stronger, that no one can harm the Tang family. Whether it's the Black Alliance or that pervert or whoever it may be, they will never be able to hurt the Tang clan. We now move on to the Black Alliance, where the lizard is thinking about the Tang clan when a woman tells him that the twin sword trash, the one who invaded the test, was defeated by the current head. This eyeless trash with ugly bangs elaborates how he was famous and well known for his strength, so she requests the leader to destroy the Tang clan. The lizard tells her why should he do that, and the ugly bangs just won't shut up, telling him at the same as challenging him. Lizard gets pissed because of this. Chatterbox tells this ugly Barbie that he disobeyed his orders and attacked the Tang clan. Even if he managed to come back alive after doing something, he would still be punished. It's interesting to the lizard that the head managed to kill that irrelevant trash, because he was someone that wouldn't lose so easily. So he summons his guards and tells them to invite the Tang clan head in the upcoming Sichuan meeting. Story: Yeon-myeong is shocked that Mirio's sister is dying, but she shouldn't have come here and instead gone to a doctor first. Mirio is crying, telling our Chad that she has already consulted several doctors, and it isn't something that medicine or medical techniques can fix. Yeon-myeong is literally dumbfounded, like you guys when you study. Anyways, he asks her then if she is suffering from internal injuries. Mirio starts crying and tells Yeon-myeong that her sister is suffering from the 19 severed meridians, which is a terminal condition. According to Yeon-myeong, there was a place alongside the Blazing Sun Palace. It was a peculiar sect that used terminal conditions. It was called the Northern Sea Ice Palace. As the name suggests, the martial artists of that place practiced ice arts, which were considered both a skill and a blessing for those born with extreme energy. However, those who didn't practice the ice arts suffered from terminal conditions, so Yeon-myeong figures out that they are the descendants from that sect. According to Mirio, they are descendants of their descendants. Long ago their descendants settled in Sichuan, and married into the Tang family, which was the most powerful family at that time. Learning ice arts can free one from terminal conditions, but this is the Sichuan Tang family, which deal with poisons and hidden weapons. So there are no practitioners of ice arts or related information here. The martial art of the Ice Palace has been passed down from distant ancestors, have been long lost. This condition is a hereditary condition that appears once every few decades, which is unfortunate. Yeon-myeong thinks there is a way out of this when Mirio tells him that they have reached her house, which is literally covered in ice. Going inside, Mirio starts crying because her conditions worsened since she left the house. Her sister has completely turned into ice. Moving on to Yeon-myeong, he thinks that the room is cold enough to freeze, which is more severe than he expected. Yeon-myeong tells Mirio to pay attention, and tells her that he cannot guarantee her sister's life. Hearing this, she gets so shocked that she is in disdain. Basically, she has been resisting the cold energy with her innate energy, but now she has reached her limit. She is currently in a state where she's blocking all consciousness and focusing all her energy on her veins. Mirio misunderstood Yeon-myeong and starts breaking down and sobs that there's no way to save her. Her reaction changes when Yeon-myeong tells her that there is a way to artificially release the cold from her body. However, if she cannot withstand the process, or if he gets overwhelmed by the cold, Yeon-myeong thinks to himself that he is ready to help, but he cannot risk the life of a friend's family member's life. So he leaves the choice whether to go with it or not to Mirio. She thinks that she came to him after there was no options left, so she cannot give up without trying. And it's even dangerous for out Chad too, so she tells Yeon-myeong to save her sister, and Yeon-myeong is ready for the procedure. Moving to the next scene, Mirio is skeptical why they had to undress her sister. Yeon-myeong explains that the clothes get in the way of extracting energy, so there's no choice. And our Chad is ready to infuse energy directly into her head, removing the cold from the 9 meridian. Yeon-myeong has to do it one by one. He has managed to remove the cold from the glabella, but the cold is getting hard to bear. Next he has to move on to the heart, but to do that our Chad has to touch some weird place. But instead of overthinking it, he proceeds to extract the cold from the heart, but all of a sudden the intensity of the cold has increased so much that it is getting impossible for our Chad to hold it in. but the intensity doesn't decrease at all. Even the surrounding of their house has turned into a cheap version of Everest, while now that's an over-exaggeration. Mirio is scared because half of our Chad's body has turned into ice. Damn, this looks similar to the nanomachine Yeon-myeong managed to extract. The Yin meridians form the 6 meridians in the upper body, but now the cold has exceeded what Yeon-myeong's body can handle. If he does continue, he will freeze himself to death first. Thinking what to do, Yeon-myeong thinks to himself that it would be easier if it were poison. Then he remembers that Ijin's grandfather from the Medicine King Hall mentioned to him that the reason for the poison in spirit pill was because medicine and poison essentially one, and it becomes poisonous when the concentration or quantity exceeds what the human body can handle. Even the yang energy in the body turns into poison once it exceeds the body's limit. Then this excessively strong cold energy that can freeze the bone can be considered a poison. So Yeon-myeong uses the poison purification art and his body starts reacting to it. As a lot of cold energy has been extracted, it's going to start resisting fiercely. As long as the cold energy is recognized as poison, it will be devoured by his body. And as his start overwhelming the cold now acting as a poison, the poison gets devoured. Moving on to our ice beauty, she is opening her eyes because the cold inside her body is dissipating. She wakes up to see Yeon-myeong hand on her stomach and gets embarrassed. All of a sudden she notices that a girl is sobbing. It's Mirio. She sees her. The two sisters had their moment, and our new girl Miso tells Mirio if Yeon-myeong is the person that saved her. She confirms that he is the one who saved her, but can't figure out why he is still touching her stomach. Miso tells Mirio that he is concentrating, so it's better to leave him be until he wakes up. Moving on to Yeon-myeong, he is currently treating the cold energy as a miracle drug. The internal energy is beyond the body capacity to absorb the internal energy, but if he leave it like this, the energy will naturally dissipate. Taking opportunity of this situation, Yeon-myeong thinks it's perfect for absorbing all the cold and open up the closed meridians. While thinking one meridian is already filling with internal energy, wondering to himself how many meridians he will be able to fill once all the cold is absorbed. After absorbing all the cold, Yeon-myeong can't believe that he managed to fill 4 meridians, which is beyond his imagination. With this, our boy has gained 4 times the internal energy he originally had. But it's unfortunate that his immediate achievement has decreased because all of them is currently stored in the meridians, so he has no choice but to supplement it by drinking poison. Dude thinks poison is some energy drink. Yeon-myeong takes another look to see both the girls staring at him. After taking a second look, Yeon-myeong stares at his hand and takes his hand off, getting all flustered, but our waifu assures that he doesn't need to be concerned, since Mirio explained everything to her. As she thanks our Chad, he tells her that it's his duty as the family head to take care of the family. Our father-in-law enters the scene to see one of his daughter half naked and the other assisting her. Misunderstanding the situation, turns into a healthy gorilla and starts shouting at our Chad. The girls come to the rescue, explaining to him how he saved his daughter. The next scene we see is kneeling to the ground because he was rude to his savior. Yeon-myeong explains to him that anyone in his place would have misunderstood the situation. Moving to happy gorilla, he expresses his gratitude for saving his daughters. He then proceeds to tell him that he settled in the Tang clan after falling in love with a woman who was part of the family. Unfortunately, his wife also suffered from the terminal condition and passed away. He spent all his savings searching for a cure to save his daughters, but it was all in vain, so he just can't control his emotions. From now on, if Yeon-myeong needs anything, he will always rush to his side. We all know what he wants is his daughters. Moving on to Yeon-myeong, he asks him why it's so quiet inside the trading company. Our gorilla explains that after the Tang family got weak, the Black Death Alliance took over. Since then they have rarely gone outside. Yeon-myeong tells him that they will discuss about it later. That's when he notices someone calling for him. It's out 2 girls, and would you look at our waifu. Damn, the artist did me justice this time, I can't deny. She thanks our Chad for saving her life, and this is a favor that they will never forget. Seeing her talking, our Chad gets flustered. Mirio thanks our Chad and tells him that they will repay him for sure. As our Chad leaves the scene, Miso asks Yeon-myeong if he will be alright, since he seemed bewildered, so she wonders if something went wrong while he was treating her terminal condition. Mirio isn't so dumb and makes the wicked face, teasing her by telling that if she felt sad because our boy is leaving. Hearing this, she gets flustered and asks Mirio if her behavior was that obvious. Our emo girl is such a bully that she tells her that she was very obvious and it's a natural reaction. Even if it was other beside her, they would have a similar reaction. Mirio tells her to not worry, since according to her she has never seen a person more beautiful than Miso. As for Yeon-myeong, she thinks that although he didn't say anything, his reaction said it all, and he is surely conscious of her. Moving on to Yeon-myeong, he is wondering about a normal family. The next moment he dreams about marrying Miso, having a child and raising him to be a martial artist, seeing them get married and have grandchildren. This is daydreaming beyond one's wildest dreams. It's like you guys dreaming about having a girlfriend in this lifetime. Yeon-myeong can't believe that he would be nervous just by looking at someone in this life. While staring at the sky, he wonders that this is probably what it feels like in ordinary life. He wants to visit that place once again, but the problem right now is the Black Death Alliance, although they didn't directly bring down the Tang family like the Demon Lord pervert. Their subordinates intruded the contest, which is certainly a bothersome presence. Moreover, as long as they remain in Sichuan province, they will inevitably clash one day. Moving on to the Black Death Alliance territory in Sichuan, we see a servant getting scolded because the Tang family's influence has been rapidly growing. And all this is said by the trash with even trashier bangs. But she cannot do anything as she was warned by the alliance leader. She is extremely angry because the other leader didn't accept her request of attacking the Tang clan family, as the alliance had ordered them to not attack the clan. So it's best for her to stay quiet until his anger subsides. Remembering all this, she gets angry and throws her apple towards the servant. According to the information, both the new head and the family head of the clan has reached the fire real mastery or close to it, yet all the alliance head is doing is watch and wait for the right opportunity. With her current self, she cannot avenge those two twin sword retard that got owned in part 3 or part 4. That's when she realizes that since she cannot move herself, she remembers about what the alliance head ordered, that was to invite the Tang family head in the upcoming Sichuan gathering. So she will take this as an opportunity. Even now, when she closes her eyes, all she hears is twin swords cries for revenge. He probably treated her to an ice cream treat, if you know you know, so unless she eradicates the Tang clan, her anger will not subdue. The servant notices that its master is expelling killing intent because she need a sweet dessert, but since servant is ugly, she burn him to death, eagerly waiting to meet our mega Chad. Unfortunately, we all know how she will be slapped to her death. Deep in the night, in one of the houses of the Tang family, the three useless retards are talking about what to do. Ever since Tang Jihai, Yeon-myeong's mother, took over the head of the family, their positions have further weakened. Both of them are complaining this to the second elder Tang Myeongshin, but he is not sure why they are telling him all this. He blames all of their downfall on the former Poison King Tang Jiak and his son, the white-haired monkey. He points his hands towards the white-haired monkey, making a face full of anger, telling him that it's because of him that couldn't gauge the opponent's strength and kept on making enemies with Yeon-myeong. The white-haired monkey can't do anything but listen, as the elder tells him that the duo of father and son is ruining everything he has built his entire life. The white-haired monkey thinks to himself that the elder is incompetent, that he can't even stand up to the family head. That's because he is not delusional like this brainless monkey. Hearing all the insults, he daydreams of healing his arm and take revenge on Yeon-myeong. I mean, there is a limit to how delusional someone can be. Tang Jiak asks the elder what plan the elder has, since like the other elders it's hard for them to maintain their forces. Hearing this, the elder clenches his hand and tells him that he is aware of their situation. He makes a face full of anger and tells them that it is best for them to leave the family. Moving to another place, a guard is telling Yeon-myeong that they have reached the warehouse where the Tang family stores the extreme and 10 poisons. As for Yeon-myeong, he is thinking in his mind to him and that this place was originally managed by the third elder, but due to his neglect it was transferred to Orchard along with the poison hall. The guards who are guarding the warehouse see Yeon-myeong and greet him, so Yeon-myeong thanks them for their hard work. One of them tells Yeon-myeong that before he goes inside he should take a pill. Seeing it, Yeon-myeong tells him what it is. The guard tells him that this is a poison-repelling pearl, which will block the toxic air inside the warehouse, and just holding it inside his mouth will filter most poison and keep them from invading the body. Yeon-myeong shocks the guard by telling him that he doesn't need it. Our Chad makes an excuse and tells him that since it has to be held in the mouth. Many people, including the third elder, have probably held and sucked on it. The guard tells him that it's cleaned after every use so he can use it. Yeon-myeong tells him that it's not required since he can't get poisoned. The guard is adamant and Yeon-myeong gets very angry since poison is his main source of food. Dude was doing just his job but got a beating instead as Yeon-myeong orders the other guard to open the door for him. Going inside the warehouse, it is maintained very well with everything properly organized. Walking further into the room, the air is filled with extreme poison as Yeon-myeong thinks that organized, probably because this is where they store the 10 poisons. Yeon-myeong now knows why they were so worried before letting him in without the pill. If an ordinary person entered without the poison repelling pill, they would have died instantly. Though Yeon-myeong's inner energy has decreased due to his meridians being sealed by the poison vein simulation technique, even the concentration of poison is increasing further down, but to someone like him who has mastered the poison refining heart technique, it is as pure as clean area. As Yeon-myeong breathes in the poison, his inner energy is increasing, but it is still not enough to make him use his martial arts like earlier. So Yeon-myeong is thinking hard and figure out that he should consume something equivalent to the 10 poisons. According to the family regulation, he can use the 10 poisons for consumption. He thinks that he can find the recipe and tell Ijin to make it for him. That's when he notices something on the wall. Yeon-myeong thinks something is strange, so he uses his inner energy to see that the airflow in the middle of the room is distorted, so it's more like a formation has been placed there. Our Chad decides to check it out, and after placing his hand on it, Yeon-myeong thinks that it's strange that there is a formation in the Tang family poison storage. The thing is that it doesn't seem to be done by the Jegal family. To confirm his doubts, Yeon-myeong takes out his dagger and infuses it with his inner energy. He makes a strike and splits the formation in half, but he gets shocked to see what behind the formation. There is a long passage blocked by talisman with the word prohibited written on it. After carefully looking at them, Yeon-myeong figure out that this is not the work of the Jegal family, but it was made by the magician's formation. According to Yeon-myeong, in his previous life his master has connections with several magicians. Like his master was obsessed with the sword, a magician is obsessed with sorcery. Ultimately seeking master sorcery and transcend human limits to become immortals. Yeon-myeong had a bad memory where he was thrown into a formation created by a magician, in the form of training by his master. According to him, it was a place full of beasts whose names even he didn't know. Magicians are typically selfish and only engage in things that interest them, but that still doesn't answer his question why there is a formation in the Tang family. His master in his previous life told him that magicians are inherently selfish creatures, and are always obsessed with spirits and demon, only seeking immortality. Yeon-myeong asks him how he managed to have a relationship with them. He makes a straight face and tells him that he beat them every day for no reason, so they begged him to have a conversation. Moving to the present, Yeon-myeong thinks there is not anyone in this family like his master, so there is probably something in the Tang family that piques the interest of a magician. The poison is so strong that it is leaking out even after being sealed with hundreds of talismans, so inside there is something with incredible poison power. Yeon-myeong is glad because he originally intended to write down the recipes of the 10 poisons if he could, but this is more interesting currently. As our Chad goes further inside, a voice from the deepest ends senses that someone has entered the seal. It's not an inconspicuous time and it is not aware how much time has passed. While that doesn't matter as long as our Chad releases him. At the end of the passage, Yeon-myeong finds a few of the 10 poisons that were said to be completely lost, but in reality it was hidden here all along. Beside it there is a huge jar wrapped around in talismans which seems ominous to him. Yeon-myeong places has to feel a strong rebound. The force created was tremendous, so it seems that it's harder to break than most formations. However, to our Chad it not very difficult as long as he cuts through each one of them with accuracy. As he cuts through the talismans all around the room, he think of cutting the ones placed on the jar, as Yeon-myeong does a set of multiple moves to cut them all down. His inner energy has decreased due to the poison vein simulation technique, or else he would have finished all this in a single strike. None of it matters now as our Chad managed to cut down the ones surrounding the jar. The poisons around the jar has gotten much stronger now that the talismans have been removed, as Yeon-myeong places his hand to open the lid. Inside there is a mysterious monster, shocked to notice that the power of the talisman bounded to him have died down, so now he can see the day of the light. Yeon-myeong gets wary as the jar explodes, making a huge explosion. Luckily Yeon-myeong managed to dodge it in the nick of time, or else he would be injured. The thing inside charges towards our boy, startling our boy. As it is faster than what he had expected, he gathers energy to attack and have the first strike before it gets here. But before he could do anything, it goes past his hand like wind, telling our Chad that he has a sharp reaction. As a rewards for releasing him, this trash will kill our Chad without any pain. Hearing this, Yeon-myeong turns behind and asks him who he is. The trash proudly tells Yeon-myeong that he is the pinnacle of poison, the blue-horned white snake. Little does this snake know he is a lottery to our boy, as he can have unlimited poison as a drink now. As the snake wraps around Yeon-myeong's arm, he is confused why it's calling itself the poison of extreme suffering, which he proudly agrees and makes an assumption that Yeon-myeong managed to block the spread of the poison by sealing the vital point in an instant, which is impressive, but he won't hold for long. Poor Snakey makes a arrogant face, telling Yeon-myeong how he will slowly melt his arm. That's when he realizes something changing, as the poison-devouring frenzy inside Yeon-myeong's body activates. The skull starts devouring its poison, and the poor snake gets scared as he can believe that Yeon-myeong has the poison-absorbing aura. And what is his relationship with the Wanderer Saint? Yeon-myeong grabs onto the blabbering poor snake like a plushy toy. His new toy begs itself to stop absorbing his poisons. At the rate his body is absorbing the poison, he will be utterly destroyed. Moving on to, he is making a poker face filled with anger, telling it why he should spare it. He makes a psychotic face towards the poor snake and taunts him by telling if it changed its mind because it's currently at an advantage. So Yeon-myeong aggressively starts playing with his new toy, absorbing tremendous amount of poison from the poor snake. Beggar Snake thinks that Yeon-myeong is serious and he might actually die at this rate. So he offers Yeon-myeong a deal, and hearing this, our Chad gets flabbergasted as he stops absorbing the poison. Poor Snake tells him that he only wants to escape from this seal, and if he spares him, it will act as his guardian spirit. Hearing this, Yeon-myeong is confused, so it convinces him that it would be beneficial for him, and asks Yeon-myeong if his internal energy is increasing every moment with his poison. At a rate beyond the normal. According to Yeon-myeong, its poison is incomparable to the 10,000-year fire carpenter pill or the fire dragon's poison. It's so potent that by just absorbing it surpasses his previous internal energy. The poor snake is so desperate that it tells Yeon-myeong that if he becomes our Chad's guardian spirit, it can provide poison whenever he needs it, which is better than absorbing all of his poison now. Our Chad is heartless as he, with a poker face, tells the poor snake that he has no interest in keeping alive someone who was an enemy, so he can replenish the poison elsewhere. Hearing this, the poor snake starts crying and loses hope, telling Yeon-myeong that can't he just spare him once, since he lived in a jar for hundreds of years. Hearing this reminds Yeon-myeong of his past life. Then he activates the ultimate cute soul killer face, telling him that as a guardian spirit he is bound to obey him. The soul killer face is so strong that Yeon-myeong gets flabbergasted and loses to it, so Yeon-myeong will believe it just this once. Hearing this, the Snakey asks him if he is accepting him. Yeon-myeong confirms it and tells Snakey that if he tries anything funny he will destroy him on the spot. Snakey, all nervous, promises that he won't do anything. Moving back to Yeon-myeong, he asks Snakey what he needs to do to become its guardian spirit, since he doesn't know anything about spirit arts. Snakey tells Yeon-myeong that he doesn't need to do anything as extreme amount of energy releases from its body, and a bead moves towards Yeon-myeong as it tells him that this is a spirit binding seal. Just by holding the bead, his spirit will be bound with our Chad's soul, and that is how it will become our Chad's guardian spirit. Hearing the instructions, Yeon-myeong grabs onto the bead as it releases enormous amounts of energy. Outside the chambers, the guards are wondering why Yeon-myeong hasn't come out yet, so they start panicking, wondering if Yeon-myeong is in any trouble. One of the guard tells the other one that they need to go in and check, but guard number 2 tells him that they are not supposed to enter carelessly. Guard number 1 picks up the poison refining pill and puts it into its mouth, telling number 2 that they can worry about the punishment later, but they cannot let the future leader suffer in a place like this. Number 2 closes his eyes and takes a deep breath, telling number 1 that he is as stubborn as always. He opens one of his eyes to see a very bright light exuding from the poison chambers. Number 1 thinks that something is happening inside and it's causing huge vibrations. As the light intensifies, number 1 and 2 starts panicking, calling for Yeon-myeong and if he is safe. Our Chad come out of the chambers as an aura is surrounding him. Back at the chambers, after Yeon-myeong made Snakey his guardian spirit, he got the guardian spirit aura and dragon scale. Unlike the usual guardian spirit aura, this one feels like a tangible outer layer, thanks to him absorbing the poison of our Snakey, which helped him fill all 12 meridians at the same time, so he considers himself lucky. Blood wanted to kill the snake a few minutes ago. He needs to suppress his aura and control the output, or else he will gain overwhelming attention from everyone. From Yeon-myeong's aura a small part arises and our snaky manifests itself, telling our Chad that does he need to be concerned about the people below him, and the Wanderer Saint flaunted it openly. Since Snaky needs some training, Yeon-myeong gives it a hard flick, telling it to not reveal itself recklessly. The autonomous cute Snaky tells our Chad that unless he reveals it himself no one can see him, and with an aura as strong as our Chad there would be no one who would dare to attack him. Yeon-myeong thinks that still it's too eye-catching and he somewhat wants to live a ordinary life this time. Our smart Sneaky asks him that what he meant by this time? And he is speaking as if he died and came back to life. Yeon-myeong doesn't make a reaction and Snaky asks him if there really is a way to do that. Yeon-myeong looks at it and asks him what he means. Snaky tells Yeon-myeong that there is a reason why he is given such power, just like his previous master the Wanderer Saint, and those with power are followed by destiny. Hearing this, Yeon-myeong asks Snaky if he was exploited back then. Hearing this, Snaky starts sweating, telling out Chad that his previous master was even more inflexible than him. The previous trash master worked Snaky to the bone until his dying days, then he summoned an exorcist to seal him in a jar, because he deemed our cute snake too dangerous. Yeon-myeong figured out how all this was connected to the exorcist, and he was a highly ranked spirit. As for Snaky, he is getting angry just thinking about him. Such a strong spirit is wanted by many exorcists, so the ancestor helps seal him. Yeon-myeong thinks if the ancestors is like his master, intimidating exorcists to get the job done. What struck our Chad's mind was that Snaky told him that there is a reason for his existence, and if it's as related to awakening memories of his past life. As he was in his thoughts wondering, a guard brings him back to reality and barges into the room, as Yeon-myeong shoves Snaky into his body as the guard tells him to come out immediately. He informs out Chad that in Sichuan near the main house there is an attack by the evil faction. Moving on to that place, we see Fatso in the entrance exam catching his breath. A huge groups of thugs are mocking them by telling where they are rushing off to. He is not aware why esteemed gentlemen from the Orthodox sect have come here, but this ugly red-haired trash tell them that they should have known that Sichuan is the territory of the Black Death Alliance. Old man tells Fatso that he will hold them off while he runs, but Fatso tells him that in his current condition it would be impossible. This red-haired dog is a palace lord and he is here with hundreds of members. In Fatso's current condition it will be hard to handle him. This smelly monkey tells him that since they have reached the capital of Sichuan they must be seeking help from the Tang clan, but their leader has isolated the Tang clan. Blood is daydreaming too much. He tells them that he will capture and offer them to the leader and he might be granted the ultimate martial art, so they should be prepared to lose a limb. That's when our Chad enters the scene. The guards tell Yeon-myeong that the two people are martial artists from the Justice faction, so he figures out that their opponent is from the evil faction. He orders the guard to escort them to the clan since they have come as guests. The Fatso is happy that martial artists from the Tang family are here to help, but there are only 4 of them, so even if their spirit is formidable it's impossible to face against hundreds. Yeon-myeong tells Fatso to step back since his partners is in no state to even stand. Wajin takes care of the injured man and Fatso asks him should they not be helping the ones up front. But Wajin smiles as Fatso blabbers about how there are over hundreds of martial artists. Yeon-myeong tells them that although he appreciates the help he is in no need of it. Moving on to the monkey, he is angry on Yeon-myeong for blocking his way. His guard tells him that he is probably the one who won the Tang clan's competition and returned as the family head. This red monkey mocks Yeon-myeong and asks him if he is going to face them, feeling sad for him. As for his minions, they are grinning. This dumb retard is so confident that he tells Yeon-myeong that he will uproot them once and for all. Hearing his nonsense, a needle flies towards him, poisoning him. In an instant this monkey falls to his death. Yeon-myeong thought that the nonsense spouted by Trash was too annoying. Everyone present in the scene is shocked by what had happened as the leader lies dead on the ground. Yeon-myeong tells them they don't need to uproot them since he will be the one to do it. Gorilla is dead as our Chad's poison needle finished him off. His lackeys are confused when Yeon-myeong threw the poison needle, because it was so fast that they couldn't even see it. Yeon-myeong puts his hands inside his coat and takes out hundreds of needles, and using his internal energy he throws it towards them. The minions saw Yeon-myeong throwing the needles and tells everyone to stay alert. As the one beside him gets killed by the needle, he hears the sounds of hundreds of them falling to the ground, getting one shot by the poison needles. As this side character turns around to see hundreds of bodies. Moving on to our chat, he rushed out and forgot to apply poison, but surprisingly it's having the same effect as if they were poisoned. As for Fatty, he is getting overwhelmed by our Chad's riz. Snaky manifests itself and tells Yeon-myeong that its poison was seeped into his needles, and there are only few people in this world that can withstand its poison. Yeon-myeong smirks and tells Snaky that it's more useful than it looks, pissing our unlimited poison supplier. We move to the Riz-infected Fatty that cannot believe that our Chad has such amazing assassin skills. Dude doesn't know he is the protagonist that you viewers dream of becoming. He guesses that Yeon-myeong might be the one that single-handedly killed the 300 warriors from the Darkness Silent sect. Despite all this, his guess was correct. The remaining lackeys cannot believe that they just witnessed over 100 soldiers getting wiped out in an instant. They thought that the Tang clan was declining, but no one mentioned they have a monster like our Chad. One guy with an axe tells them not to worry as it's just one guy. This junior gorilla tells them how if Yeon-myeong is not in the fire realm he won't have enough energy to use that great technique multiple times. Gorilla wanted screen time, so it charges towards our Chad, landing a heavy attack, telling Yeon-myeong where all his bravado went. Gorilla is the only one talking. Let our Chad cooks, as Yeon-myeong grabs onto his axe and breaks it, like your hearts when girls reject you. The junior gorilla is wetting himself as what Yeon-myeong used was the dragon scale he got after contracting with Snaky. The minions gets nervous as they see Yeon-myeong using the 10,000 heavenly flower rain. Moving on to our Chad, he is ready to attack, and Fatty, seeing what our boy is doing, gets nervous as they heard that the Tang family's secret technique was lost after facing the heavenly pervert's attack, which was all a mistake, and their strength is still solid. As for Yeon-myeong, he is done killing every single one of them. Fatty thinks of letting the Tang clan handle the Black Death Alliance, but Yeon-myeong bursts his bubble and asks Fatty if he is still here. Fatty is so scared that his fat will melt and tells Yeon-myeong that his skills are so impressive that he couldn't look away. Yeon-myeong walks past him and tells him that they will discuss it further at the main house. Fatty takes a second look to see hundreds of side characters dead, and by no means they should make enemies with the Tang family. A few days ago on the outskirts of Sichuan, Fatty was eating with Sabak. He tells him that it's a relief that they didn't encounter any trouble from the unorthodox factions, since he heard that after the Tang clan's downfall Sichuan has been overrun by the unorthodox factions. Surprisingly, it's pretty quiet. We move on to the Gen Z old man, but he is serious for some reason. Fatty is confused why he's so tense all of a sudden. A mysterious man asks them if the food is to their liking, since it's a small place that he visits often. Fatty with no neck thinks to himself that he was right beside them, but he couldn't even sense him, so he is quite a skilled guy. He asks the mysterious man who he is. Sabak tells him that it's the guy from the Yu family, shocking him because this guy is the Black Alliance leader, the crippled lizard. He asks them what brings the Taoists of the joint sect to his Sichuan. Dude thinks he is Gu Chanji from I Am a Fated Villain, but he is just a side character. Our arrogant Fatty is nervous as they came to this remote inn to avoid clashes, but because of their bad luck they came across the Alliance leader. Crippled Lizard asks Sabak if he has any business with the Alliance, since he has reached the Fire Realm. Sending him would mean it's serious. Old man tells Lizard that he has no business with the Alliance, and asks him if he came alone as he doesn't see any of his subordinates. The crippled Lizard talks as if he the main character, taunting him by telling old man if he thinks that he can take him down alone, and if that's what he wants he is willing to spar with him. Sabak gets pissed and tells Lizard that he has lived twice as long as him, but this savage lizard asks him if he is here to pay respect to him. Sabak gets so pissed that he releases his energy and tells him that in a battle between Fire Realm masters the years of accumulated energy are crucial. And if Lizard is confident enough to handle the energy he has built with his sect techniques. Fatty thinks that Sabak is more hyped than usual, so he might actually start a fight here. All of a sudden both of them get shocked because the lizard releases his energy and tells them that he destroyed multiple sects with his own hands 10 years ago. The only reason that the joint sect survived was because they were far away from Sichuan. If a fight is what it will take him to understand this, he knows a place nearby for a quick spar. Fatty is smart to tell Sabak to not be impulsive and jump into a fight, but he wants to be a protagonist as well and show the crippled lizard that the martial arts of their sect is the best in the world. We move to the present as Fatty tells Yeon-myeong that was how they ended up facing the crippled lizard, but our Chad tells him that it's different from the one that he saw earlier. Fatty explains that the ones chasing them came after this. Moving to his story, the lizard was terrifying as on one side stood our old man and on the other was the crippled lizard. Sabak took his sword out and tells Fatty to step back. As for the lizard, he is ready to face him. In an instant Sabak disappears, rushing towards the lizard, attacking him, but he blocks it using his bare hands. Telling this old man that the sword technique is pretty decent, since it's powered by internal energy. Basically, old man uses the resonance of the inner energy to drive out other energies. Fatty can't keep up with their speed and thinks this is what a fight between warriors who have reached the fire realm looks like. As they exchange swords, the crippled lizard managed to stop the old man's sword attack with his bare hands, mocking him by telling him how he bragged about his internal energy, but it's not up to the mark. This dumb old hag gets even more pissed and starts using the ultimate technique of the joint sect, releasing waves of enormous energy. Seeing this, the dumb Fatty thinks Sabak is overwhelming the crippled lizard but notices him smiling. In an instant, with multiple attacks at the same time, he blocks the old man's attacks. Sabak comes back to reality, realizing that the lizard is intentionally blocking all his attacks at the last moment. It's as if he is testing his, even though he is from the unorthodox side. Since that's the case, he will go all out, using the full power of his secret technique. As for the lizard, it managed to figure out his technique. The secret technique lands, it causes a huge explosion as strong as an atomic bomb. Fatty is shocked that Sabak used the secret technique of the clan. The old man gets up, showing our Fatty how he managed to defeat the alliance leader. Dude is literally in a dilemma that he is the protagonist. Fatty tells him that all of it is fine but they should leave soon. That's when the crippled lizard tells them that the technique requires more precision. The martial art is fitting for the joint sect, which is one of the major orthodox factions. He is unharmed and explained that the technique is using the internal energy amplification through intent. So even though it's called the demonic sword technique, it's basically a powerful internal martial art. Moving on to Fatty, he tells Sabak that what he is using is defiantly the sect's secret technique. However, it's not the usual mixed energy. Lizard acts arrogant, telling them why they are surprised, since if one understands the principles, it's easy. So it doesn't exclusively have to be a demonic technique. Sabak moves Fatty to the side as the lizard launches a tremendous attack filled with energy, telling them how he will rename the technique to the divine subduing energy. Can't wait for Yeon-myeong to face up. I think our Chad snake is enough for this lizard. Yeon-myeong confirms it from Fatty if the crippled lizard actually used the martial arts of the orthodox faction. Fatty puts his head down and tells our Chad that he adapted the martial art to his preference. Although the energy he gathered was different, the technique was undoubtedly the essence of the demonic sword art. What's surprising is that the power of the copied technique surpassed the original demonic sword technique. If old man didn't use the last bit of his internal energy to block the attack, they would be dead by now. Yeon-myeong is actually impressed because Sabak was definitely in the fire realm, so to comprehend his martial arts in just one duel is impressive. While thinking to himself, Fatty intervenes and tells Yeon-myeong that they have come to the Tang clan for one purpose. So he requests them to cooperate with them in the great martial arts competition of their sect. The Heavenly Demon Cult is a religious and militant group located in Xinjiang. They were once so strong that they could rival all the 9 great sects and other martial faction. After numerous fights in martial arts world, the orthodox faction is still not confident enough to confront them. The main reason behind it is because the entire faction moves at the command of one person, the sect leader. However, the situation took a change when the sect leader's son, the creepy pervert, emerged with innate martial talent and gained his own personal followers. Because there might be an unintended factional split, the pervert left the clan and led his followers with him, founding the Heaven's Brilliance Demon Cult. This is the reason that has weakened the elite ranks of the sect, making this the last opportunity to eradicate them, but they are worried about the Black Death Alliance to their south. So if they move to the north while their elites are out to take care of Heavenly Demon Cult, they will suffer great losses. The martial power that our Chad displayed earlier was so strong that he could prevent the Black Death Alliance from moving north. So it's his humble request that while the Tang family stops the Black Death Alliance while they eradicate the Heavenly Demon Divine Cult. But what he hears shock him because our Chad isn't some loser, so, with a poker face, he tells Fatty no. Fatty tells Sabak that their request was rejected. Yeon-myeong told him that he cannot this himself, so he will consult this with the family head in return. Fatty tells old hag what to do if they can't persuade them. Sabak tells them to wait for the time being. Fatty tells him that this is not the only problem, but the state of the Tang clan is quite different from what they expected. While they traveled here, they observed that building of the Tang family expanded, their martial prowess has increased greatly. Even the overall atmosphere among the clan members were great, which is completely opposite to the rumors that they were ruined by the mega-pervert emotionless loser. Sabuk gets into character and tells Fatty that he noticed it, and figures out that there must be a driving force that revived the clan. So by any means necessary they must bring the Tang clan to their side. While discussing all this, Yuri and her father are here, these two over-smart delusional martial artist. He introduces himself as the head of general affairs of the Tang clan. By the orders of the family head he is here to bring them. After they reach the main house, both of them are shocked as mommy leader introduces herself and asks them if they came here to request cooperation against the heavenly demon cult. She tells them that currently she is the acting family head of the Tang clan. What surprised these two is that she is in the fire realm, which is probably why the Tang clan regained their strength. Although they cannot detect Yeon-myeong powers, but the acting head, our mommy queen, is undoubtedly in the fire realm. Fatty thinks he is the only smart one, telling our mommy that their sect is in urgent need of support, and since they are eradicating evil sects, isn't it right to help in the name of justice? So he requests her to reconsider, but our mommy doesn't respond. She asks Yeon-myeong that he refused them earlier and if he still thinks the same. Yeon-myeong's answers is still a no, shocking the two brain-dead retards, as Fatty asks him what is reason behind the rejection. Trying to convince our Chad that if they don't stop the evil sects the martial world might fall in chaos. Yeon-myeong with a stern face tell these two monkeys that it's understandable that the heavenly demon cult is dangerous, but the Black Death Alliance and the evil faction are separate issues. According to what Yeon-myeong learned from his investigation, the Black Death Alliance does not harass the common people, although they don't collect protection fees. In return they even eliminate the bandits, making them more like the orthodox factions. So in such circumstances they have no justification to attack them first, shocking Fatty, but the old man remained calm. Our Chad gets pissed as he asks them what they mean by acting in the name of justice. When the Black Death Alliance and the pervert and his cult invaded the Tang clan. Since no one from the orthodox faction came to help, literal hypocrites. Our Chad tells him that prioritizing the safety of their own sect is normal, so he can't blame them. But what they are doing is trying to seek help under the guise of eradicating the evil sects. Look at that lump of fat, it's about to leak himself. Fatty clenches his fist since he cannot lift his head because what our Chad is telling aren't wrong. They preach righteousness but only act when their own sects are threatened. The dumbfounded old man apologizes to Yeon-myeong for not considering the Tang clan's position. Fatty is shocked that usually in this case old man would be angry. Well, if he really got angry he would have to carry his body. He tells Yeon-myeong that he was short-sighted and it's natural to refuse when all they do is talk about their own benefits in the name of righteousness. He changes his term, telling our Chad that they are willing to pay a fair price, so now it's not a favor but a cooperation. Since this is the case, Yeon-myeong can't refuse them anymore. Hearing this, Fatty instantly tells them how they should discuss the forces they can deploy. But he gets stopped by our Chad as he transforms into a monster, telling them how much they are willing to pay. Look at him, guys. After they left the building done with their discussion, Fatty lost some weight because they will have to pay several years' worth of sect maintenance. Old man thinks that if it can save their sect this is a small price to pay. He tells Fatty that he must be confident to offer such an amount, which Fatty agrees because their martial powers are impressive. Because they are close to the crippled lizard. As for Yeon-myeong, his power are hard to guess, which the Fatty can't believe because those at the fire realm can sense it. Since Yeon-myeong can do it, he is surely the strongest person he has come across. As our Chad overhears all this, getting impressed because the old man realized that he is hiding his powers. Mommy tells Yeon-myeong that it is not entirely about collecting money and there must be a reason why our Chad agreed to this. Yeon-myeong tells her that the Black Death Alliance good deeds to the Taoist, but he cannot trust them. Mommy tells Yeon-myeong that orders has been maintained in Sichuan after all the major sects fell. Yeon-myeong tells her that it's all because of that crippled lizard. The only reason they classified as an evil faction is because they didn't join the orthodox faction. They're more like bandits because they ignore righteousness and only pursue their personal gains. The current order in Sichuan is temporarily maintained by crippled lizard. If things go slightly wrong in their rule, they push out their business competitors and plant spies to invade or bring down other clans. So although their nature didn't change, the current order is only maintained by lizard. If he were to disappear one day, the evil faction under his would go crazy. Mommy finally understood his point, so she asks him what his current plan is. Hearing this, Yeon-myeong smiles and tells her that it's simple, so all they need to do is prevent them from going north. Mommy is not sure if they are strong enough to block the Death Alliance since she is not aware of Yeon-myeong's current strength. Our Chad with a straight face tells her that since they cannot block them directly, he will block them internally. Hearing this, mommy cannot believe that he is gonna infiltrate the main base. Our mommy, I mean my mommy, never mind, she is nervous how he will sneak in. Yeon-myeong tells her that recently they sent an invitation themselves. Hearing this, mommy gets confused. Unlike the previous competitions, the gathering is now a tournament where the young master of the evil factions face each other. Yeon-myeong will attend the gathering and confirm their true nature, and if they don't eradicate their evil nature, he will kill every one of them. In some other place inside a carriage, a man is telling someone that when they reach the Tang clan, the person should not do anything to offend the family head. It's that skinny Barbie. This time he bought her niece, and if what he said about Yeon-myeong is right, while his hand keeps shaking, she will do anything to win him over. Well, she is cute and an actual Barbie. She is the young lady. Yeonjin comes to meet Taeho and asks him if he is here. Since she brought him his meal and herbal medicines, Sabek tells her to come inside. Someone tells me how she looks like a girl. She asks him how he is currently doing and the current situation of his internal energy. He tells her that thanks to her he is now much better. Making a face full of happiness, he tells Aijin all of this because of the medicine her grandfather provided. Hearing this, Aijin is delighted. When he first saw the medicine and the food, he was traumatized because not only did it contain herbs, but also poisonous plants. Look at his face, it looks like he is consuming turd freshly released. Now that was a disgusting remark. What he didn't expect is that after eating it, his power level went over 9,000 and he became a hairy version of Nappa. This even surprised Aijin's grandfather who made the medicine. Because of how fast he was recovering, that hot fresh turd was maybe good. If this goes on like this, he will soon recover enough to be able to return to his sect. Aijin is happy to hear. That's when Fatty tells them that it is very noisy outside and asks Aijin if something is happening. She tells him that it might be because the Jaegal clan has arrived. Hearing this, Fatty is nervous and confused. The Jaegal clan and the Tang family have had a close relationship for a long time. That's why they supported them during the recent contest. This time they are here to set up a defensive formation in their outer grounds. Fatty is contemplating about not knowing much about formations, but it will be very costly, and if the Jaegal clan is well off. Instead of all this, dude should weigh himself first. Sabek asks her if the Tang clan is covering the cost. She directly tells him that the Jaegal clan is covering for everything with a smile on her face. While the duo of Fat Monkey and Gen Z are confused, she tells them that according to the family head they were very cooperative. Sabek thinks they might have found the weakness of the Jaegal clan. Now we move on to your favorite skinny Barbie. He is wetting himself from the thought of what our Chad might just do to him. Now we move on to the main hall. Bro, I don't want to move so much, already overworked by self. Anyways, the duo of uncle and niece are outside the main hall, as he asks Yeonjin if she will be able to leave a good impression on them, and she assures him. She is then move on to show her huge collection of clothes she brought. If you know, can't get demonetized, and how there is not a man who will not fall for her beauty. Looking at her, skinny Barbie thinks that she resembles his sister, who was called a beauty in Hubei, so capturing a young man's heart won't be too difficult. Someone tells me who the hell draws those mothers. They all look too good to be a side character. Over a decade ago, the pervert attacked the clan to claim his sister, and because of her sacrifice the clan barely managed to survive destruction. This dude has mental issue for sure. Please be wary that he not the Black Alliance leader, as some might confuse it. Driven by the shame that something is 50 and rotten got to taste her cooking, she killed herself, probably because they didn't add enough meat to the dish. So no matter what, he cannot allow such a tragedy to befall the family ever again. If she develops a strong relationship with the Tang clan, they can maintain their lineage. He looks at her and thinks that the future of their clan now solely depends on her. That's when Barbie hears a voice telling them that she heard the Jaegal clan was a great help to them. Both of them are shocked for some other reason, but I would only act this way if I can pair up with our mommy. Now they are even setting up a formation for them, and she as the family head is very grateful. Let's take 10 seconds to appreciate how good the goat mommy looks like. Skinny Barbie figures out that, if she is the family head, then she is most likely our Chad's mother. Like mother like son, they are both blessed with beauty. I care to differ, the real protagonist is the mother, no debate. He was overwhelmed by her presence that he forgot to greet her, so Skinny Barbie introduces himself and apologizes for not being aware of her ascension. But since she is a queen, she gracefully tells him that he was not here when she ascended, which is understandable. She tells him that they had a long journey, so it's sufficient to rest before they should start their work. Hearing this, Barbie in a respectful manner thanks her for their consideration. She asks who the lady beside him is. In a nervous manner he tells her that she is his niece, that he brought to strengthen the bond between the clans. He asks her to greet the family head, but while she is dazed not listening anything that he is saying, because she got rizzed by our Chad's good look, dude should thank his mother for that. While she was daydreaming, our Barbie tells him her to pay attention. She gets into character and introduces herself, and she apologizes to Mommy for her late greeting, and congratulates her for becoming the family head. Mommy thinks that she is a very polite child and tells her that in a few years men will be heartbroken over her. Hearing this, she gets shy, taking this as a compliment. Mommy proudly tells her that she was also famous in her youth and she resembles him, if only she was real, never mind. She tells Mommy that she is still so beautiful that when she first saw her, she thought our Mommy was our Chad's sister. In her mind she thinks that our Mommy is a kind woman and compliments her. I completely agree with her in this case. Mommy tells her that since she is the same age as Yeon-myeong she will get along with him. She starts acting as tears falls from her eye, telling Mommy that no one from her family has even shown her so much affection. In her mind what she is thinking is if our Chad is also reaction to her story. But gets shocked when she sees our Chad lost in his thoughts. Barbie cannot believe that he ignored such a sorrowful story of a beautiful story. Usually men would be tripping over her themselves, but she is confused if he is not interested in her. Moving on to our Chad, he is literally dreaming about our ice waifu. New sister was 6 chapters late. Barbie thinks that he has failed once again, but Yeon-myeong cannot accept that she got rejected since it's a first for her. Mommy tells Yeon-myeong to pay attention as she pulls his cheeks, but Yeon-myeong is determined to impress him. Don't hate her, she is a great character, you will know later on. Now we move on to the Black Death Alliance territory where everyone is talking about the Tang clan's head. A little girl is running while they say how our Chad is not on good terms with them. On one of the meeting halls the elders are talking about the budget needed for the gathering, and the second page includes the list of participants. A man is biting a branch to look cool, tells them that it is sufficient reporting for today. He is the leader of the Sin Demonic Lords. He congratulates the red-haired goblin for handling all this, since it was mostly done by the Void Immortal Hall. She tells him it's nothing as she is doing her duty as the servant of the leader. The other thinks that the alliance leader threw away the report and went out. Old man tells masked man that he has always been a free spirit. That's when someone enters the room and everyone gets shocked seeing the entity. As for that goblin, she was sweating as it's a little girl telling them that she wanna go to Sichuan for the gathering this time. She gets on top of her uncle as she asks her what has happened as she thought it was troublesome last time. She tells him she heard rumors and asks him if the Tang clan family head will be participating. Which is the right information, so she acts cheesy telling him that all the women in the area are lovesick over him, so she wonders how handsome he is. If the rumors are true she will most likely make him her husband. Leaf-eating uncle thinks that if her father knew this he would be shocked as Goblin hears their conversation. And the topic is angering her, but she really can do anything. Blood should visit a hairstylist first, but then she make a smirk, probably wants trap our Chad using cute girl as an excuse. While her uncle tells her that there is no one that can stop the will of the alliance leader's daughter. Why do I think that the our Chad will become friends with the alliance leader since they're not portrayed as villains? Look at their drawing styles. In one of the residences of the Tang family, Mirio is combing the hair of our god-tier waifu. As she tells her how beautiful her hair is even after she was bedridden all this time, as she laughs getting shy. Last time when Yeon-myeong came here, he made it very obvious that he got bewitched by her. Even I agree, just like you guys who clicked because of the thumbnail. Mirio asks her to share her beauty secrets with her bro is seriously in need of a makeover. Mirio activates her Power Ranger Mean God mode and asks her what she thinks about Yeon-myeong. Hearing this she gets shy and asks her if she is using martial arts to monitor people's breathing. The troll tells our innocent waifu that when she mentioned his name her breathing changed. Then she gets serious and asks her if she is seriously okay, confusing her as she asks her what she is talking about. Mirio tells Miso that our Chad is going to Sichuan gathering, so she won't be able to see him for a while. Then this troll explains to her in this gathering the most dangerous evil faction will face each other. Hearing this she gets scared as Mirio tells her that it's not the most important thing. What if our Chad were to meet another girl from the factions and fall for her? In that situation, can she handle it then? Bro, look at her face, the art is so good it's killing me. She is unable to come up with an answer. Meme God make another pose and suggest her that they should both go to the Sichuan gathering. Miso makes a frowning face and tells her that what if their attendance makes the family head burdened. Mirio tells her to not worry about it since she has everything planned out. Bro is the ultimate winger, look for her in real life. At the main hall of the Tang clan, Yeon-myeong is bored, as he asks Yeonjiang that if it's true that she wants to go to Sichuan gathering as his maid. Yeonjiang replies with an yes and tells our Chad that she heard that the young master from the evil faction will compete for powers there, so she is curious to see how the competition unfold. With the reaction less face like boss in my old job when I messed up, he tells her that he has been informed that he can bring one guard and one maid. Yeonjiang on her mind thinks that it's not a pleasure trip, instead she will find a way to win over the family head no matter what. That when our girl enters his room as Yeon-myeong make the face of a junior member, he tells them that he sensed them coming and of course it had to be the girls. Mirio barges in with our queen and tells him that Miso is eager to discuss something with him. She tells Mirio that she is very disrespectful towards the family head. That's when Mirio notices a fox staring at her. Guys, just look at their face, look like JoJo's adventurer, but it's even more uglier. Mirio asks who she is and Yeonjiang does the same. Yeon-myeong asks Miso what she is currently doing here, as Mirio was about to tell him when Yeonjiang is making a face similar to that cat from Pokemon. She tells Yeon-myeong that her sister and she herself want to go to the Sichuan government. Hearing this, Yeonjiang is shocked. What's funny is the Archad is completely useless. What they plan to do is Mirio become his guard and Miso will accompany them as his maid, since he can only be accompanied by one guard and one maid. Amidst their meeting, Yeonjiang is dumbfounded what nonsense Mirio is spouting. From her eyes, Mirio has a close relationship with Yeon-myeong, but the biggest concern is that Miso is so beautiful that she is almost as beautiful as Yeon-myeong's mother. No one, I repeat, on one can beat mommy. Moving back to Yeonjiang, she is losing her mind because if Miso were to accompany Yeon-myeong it will ruin her plan and position. Our Chad shocks everyone in the room, is shocked as Yeon-myeong tells Mirio that he can take her as his guard. As for Miso, he cannot take her with him, since he already has someone in mind for the maid position. Hearing this, the delusional Yeonjiang thinks if she is the maid, while Mirio tells him that if Miso doesn't go, Mirio will not accompany him. Since that's the case, Yeon-myeong planned to choose another warrior from the clan, pissing Mirio even more. Miso tells her Mirio to stop as she starts getting emotional and then literally starts crying, telling Mirio that if the family head doesn't want it, it's better not to force him. I am sorry mommy, I might get diverted, what the hell was that? Mirio loses her mind, telling the junior meme god to go outside with her since it's time for a lecture. To Mirio, he is an amazing person not just because of his martial art but also because of his judgment and decisiveness. Then as she is his senior when it comes to posting memes, she shows him his true face, telling him how he can be so cluelessness, making it obvious why she is acting like this. She wants to know why Mirio cannot go, and if he doesn't have feeling for her, it's like he is pushing away an opportunity right in front of him. Yeon-myeong shocks her by telling her that it's not a pleasure trip but it could instantly turn into a battlefield, since he doesn't know what might happen during the confrontation with the evil factions. If Mirio were to come along, she might get exposed to a danger that he can't protect her from. Mirio is scared as he tells her who would be responsible if she were to get in trouble. What's more troublesome is that they are going to the Black Death Alliance territory, so he might even have to face their leader. Considering she is still in her recovery phase and is not fully strong yet, it would be hard for her to handle. Let me give you guys some spoiler: our ice waifu will turn into a psycho when it comes to Yeon-myeong. Moving back to Mirio, she thinks what he said is right, so she has no choice but to agree to her. Yeon-myeong thanks her for understanding his situation. Bro is like the ultra-rare protagonist who is almost perfect. Dude is not a simp unlike others. There are only a few that are like this, but before we continue I would appreciate if you subscribe. Mirio sweats as she tells him that she is still going as Yeon-myeong, but our troll asks her that she told everyone that she wouldn't be going either. She gets pissed, telling her that she cannot let a fox guard the hen house. She is talking about Yeonjiang. As for Yeon-myeong, he cannot talk over his boss. As for the Pokemon kitten waifu, she thinks that someone is talking about her. In some other place inside the Tang family, your favorite skinny Barbie is half asleep looking at a formation. Yeon-myeong surprises the Barbie as he asks him why is he just standing here falling asleep. Barbie is scared, so tells Yeon-myeong that there is no such thing, Skinny Barbie tells him that the defense formation has been fully set up and not he is just making adjustments so it will be finished by tomorrow. Yeon-myeong activates his eye discerning skill to look around the formations placed on the main parts of the Tang family. The Skinny Barbie tells our Chad all the key point have been protected with formation. Basically Yeon-myeong threatened to kill the Barbie if he is not done with the formation a week. Moving to the present, he tells Yeon-myeong that he has enough time to complete. Our Chad compliments him as he tells Barbie that if he tries he can do it, so she should do the remaining tasks like this. Hearing this, the Barbie starts crying because his life is saved. Yeon-myeong is impressed because it's better than he expected. Even if he is not here they can protect themselves. Yeon-myeong has one more thing to do as he goes to the main hall. He summons a new character. It's the elder Tang Yeon-myeong. This guy has guts as he tells Yeon-myeong that they are not exactly on talking terms. Yeon-myeong tells him that he heard that with the sword he is skilled, which is why he became an elder. Since Yeon-myeong also uses the sword, he thinks it's ideal to have a conversation. Moving to the elder, he tells Yeon-myeong that what he showed during the competition is beyond his reach. So he is well aware of the gap between them. Yeon-myeong tells him it's obvious that his skill are not even close, but he gets surprised when Yeon-myeong tells him that he would give him some pointers on swordsmanship. But the offer is not for nothing. In exchange he will have to follow his orders from now onwards. The elder is shocked as our Chad tells him that this opportunity will not come by again, so he should consider this a fortunate encounter. So he raises his hand asking the elder if he will be changing side. The two dandies are done lazing off. Now they will take their leave, thanking them for their hospitality. Fatty thanks them for joining them in their cause, and on behalf of their sect he extends his gratitude. Sabak also thanks them because all his internal injuries have completely healed, and if the Tang clan ever needs help he will come running back. Mommy is back at the scene, as she is grateful for their words. They are going to send some elders and warriors to aid in their campaign against the demonic sect. They bluntly said all the trash the clan was harboring. Sabak puts out his hand telling her that he will send the payment as soon as they return to their sect. He shake hand with mommy. I mean my newlywed wife. Old man should keep his hands off. He then moves on to my son, I mean Yeon-myeong. This handshaking pervert wants to shake hands with our Chad to express gratitude. Because if it weren't for him they wouldn't have made it out alive. As they shake hand, this was tells our Mega Chad that he possesses martial powers beyond his years. And before long he might surpass him. What nonsense is this ant talking about? Anyways, he gets owned by the overwhelming powers suppressed by our Chad, making him feel like the ant he is. Bro popped his pants. Just look at his face as he starts sweating. Fatty notices a change in his outlook and tells him why his face has turned pale and if he is alright. Since Ant has to stay all strong and whatnot, he tells him that it's because he is reluctant to leave. With a shivering voice he tells Fatty that they should go back to their sect. What he saw was not an illusion, but it's hard to believe that a human can possess such power. It might just be a guess, but Gen Z uncle thinks that the rise of the Tang clan might not be because of the family head but our Chad Yeon-myeong. As they leave, my wife tells everyone that the motto of the clan is that they will repay kindness twofold and grudges tenfolds. This is the rules that the main family values loyalty above all. Since they have agreed to assist the Fatsos' sect, they must face the battle together. And because of the vigor and beauty of my wife they get pumped up. I married her. In this episode's jokes apart, the group of pigs that are still in the clan are having a hard time contemplating the situation they are in. From the look of it, these losers will try to kill Yeon-myeong or cause a problem for the Tang clan. With everything set in place, she wishes them good fortune in their battle. Later that day, Ijin hand over our Chad a full stock of energy drinks, I mean the fiery poison. Ijin is curious why he always carries this poison only, since there are many other poisons. Yeon-myeong tells her that it's because he is familiar with it and there's no poison like it. Basically what he means is that this is Yeon-myeong's favorite flavor. He bids her farewell since his companions are waiting. She is chilled because it's him, but he gotta make it out alive. Out of nowhere, Snakey manifests itself, getting curious as it is hard to believe if he is really as young as he says. Yeon-myeong asks it what's with a question like this out of the blue. Snakey explains that it is hard to believe that someone his age could possess such martial prowess. Now Snakey starts blabbering nonsense how our Chad has surpassed many veteran martial artists who have roamed the martial world for decades. Still, he is not on the level of the invisible guest yet, but the most supernatural thing was the sword technique he showcased when he recruited the elder. It was so advanced that it was levels above the swordmasters he had faced alongside the invisible guest. Yeon-myeong is smart, so he makes up an answer, telling it that if there are people like the Black Death Alliance leader who can comprehend martial arts at a glance, then why cannot a Chad like our boy exist? So it's best for Snaky to put aside his unnecessary. All Snaky thinks is that our Chad is definitely not a dragon. Afterwards he goes to the main hall, where his group of side characters are waiting while Mirio asks Yeon-myeong where he went. Yeon-myeong tells them that he went to Aijin to get some poison, but he is not aware of the third person accompanying them. The masked dude greets our Chad, introducing himself as Jang Gil, and he is here to guide him and ensure he is safe during his journey. Yeon-myeong with a smile on his face tells him that he will be counting on him. That's when my wife enters the scene asking our son Yeon-myeong if he is going to leave now. Seeing her, the side characters get shocked, just like someone seeing their crush. But since our real main character Chill, she tells them it okay, as there is no need to be so formal. She suddenly tells Yeon-myeong that the wind is picking up, so whatever oath Yeon-myeong chooses in life, she will support him, but he shouldn't push himself too hard. Yeon-myeong tell her to not worry since she should be aware whose son he is. Hearing this, my wife gets shy, proudly telling him that he is son of the Poison Phoenix. Well, he is my son from now onwards. She then moves on to the side characters, telling them to stay safe and take good care of the family head. Like some robots in charge, they tell her that they will carry out duties. Hearing this, she bids them farewell. Look at her again, this is for sure going to be my wallpaper artist, definitely did me justice. In the heart of Sichuan Tang, we move on to our squad as Mirio tells Yeon-myeong that it really feels like a festival, but it wasn't like this the last time she came. Hearing this, Yeon-myeong asks her if she has been here before. Mirio proudly tells Yeon-myeong that she came here a few times when her dad was still running the trading company. Mirio gets into her character, telling him how it was a huge company back then. Once the evil factions took over, the business has shrunk a lot. Hearing all this nonsense, Yeon-myeong remembers that her father mentioned it before. Our Chad thinks that if the clan expands, it would be financially smart to have a trading company, since they cannot rely on the elders' embezzled funds and the medical wing's profits forever. Now it is becoming clear to our Chad he will need to deal with the evil factions. Yeon-myeong tells Mirio to come see him with her father. Hearing this, Mirio asks him what is the reason. Our Rizgod tells her that he is planning to help him start running the trading company. Hearing this, Mirio gets extremely happy, telling him that he cannot back out now that he has said it. Later that day, in some place in the town where a dwarf man is chilling by himself, he is actually dressed because today it is going to be another slow day. His dream is to find someone who knows how to appreciate swords. That's when he hears a voice calling for him, it our Chad asking him if the place is open for business since they cannot hear any sounds of hammering. Yeon-myeong, the new Naruto lookalike, tells him that he is here to look at swords. Little man thinks that our Chad has an unusual look about him, so he welcomes him with open arms, telling him that the swords are inside, so he is free to take a look. He showcases his collection, trying his hardest to not brag about how good they are compared to other shops. Mirio asks him why he is in need of a sword. According to Yeon-myeong, it better to carry a weapon even if it is just for show. Yeon-myeong analyzes the sword by tapping on it. The quality of the blade is in excellent condition and even the level of sharpness is impressive. Yeon-myeong tells Shorty that he has a right to boast, shocking him, because he cannot believe that he knows how to evaluate swords. Although the sword lacks beauty, the sharpness make up for it, which is proof that the forging and tempering was done with great precision. Shorty cannot believe that Yeon-myeong analyzed sword just by tapping it and glancing at them a few times. Yeon-myeong tells everyone present to pick one sword that will suit their taste. Hearing this, Shorty gets inside, telling Yeon-myeong to wait right there and not move. After a while, he brings in a huge case and drops it to the table, telling our Chad to open it since it's been a while he has met someone who appreciates swords. Opening the box, Yeon-myeong is shocked because this is the demon-slaying sword. The demon-slaying sword that the blacksmith showcased is shiny enough to reflect the image of Yeon-myeong. As for his sidekick Mirio and Yeonjeong, they are amazed by how extravagant it looks. Yeonjeong is someone who has no expertise when it comes to swords, but even she can tell in a glance how amazing the sword is. The Shorty tells them that the sword was not crafted by him but his master, who was an expert in his work. Unfortunately, he passed away from illness, so he took over and relentlessly worked on the sword and finished it. While telling this, he is very proud of this achievement, and asks Yeon-myeong what he thinks of this sword. He can proudly say that the sword is worthy of being called a masterpiece. Even to the eyes of our Chad, this is an amazing sword that it is good enough to be on par with the sword he used in his past life. He can feel the sharpness radiating from it constantly. Yeon-myeong tells Shorty that it is a brilliant sword, however he doesn't need a sword of this caliber. This shocks the blacksmith, so he asks Yeon-myeong if the sword didn't meet his expectations. Yeon-myeong sighs and tells him that it's quite the opposite. He should be proud of the sword he has created, and our Chad is thankful that he showed it to him. This is the reason he thinks that the sword ID too much for him. The real reason is that a sword of this quality would only draw unnecessary attention because of how well it's crafted, so a simple sword suits him better. Yeon-myeong tells Shorty that he will pick the one that he picked up earlier. Hearing this, the blacksmith gets disappointed, telling him that if that's what he wants, he has no choice but to comply. That when a group of brain-dead nonsense third-class characters enter the scene, I guess even trash needs to be given screen time. Seeing them, the Shorty makes an unexpected reaction as if he is scared, calling the man in front young Master Yun. He is pissed because he ordered Shorty to bring in the best sword in the shop, yet he deceived him and hid such a masterpiece from him. We will call this retard him Rotten Ginger cause his face resembles one. This ginger cannot fathom that a mere blacksmith dare to mock him. This ginger has too much spice because he is clearly deluded. Shorty is nervous as he tells him that it's clearly a misunderstanding, while our Chad is hearing this nonsense shown by a one-chapter character. Yeon-myeong is a bit confused because in between a bunch of ants there is a strange aura coming from few of them, which is strange to our boy. Seeing this, Snaky manifests items, telling Yeon-myeong that he felt something wrong, and his suspicion was right, it is clearly demonic energy. Snaky has faced them few times with the invisible guest, as he asks Yeon-myeong if this is his first time seeing them. According to Yeon-myeong, this is his first time seeing one in person, as he has only heard about them. He asks Snaky what these demon pests are doing in Sichuan, but Snaky is unaware but suggests that he can just capture one and interrogate him. This Gingers is not only rotten but dumb as well, as he orders Yeon-myeong to step aside because he is going to kill the blacksmith, and if Yeon-myeong does not move he will kill our Chad first. Trash literally unlocked first-grade nonsense. Yeon-myeong gets pissed, telling him that his mouth is too foul for a brat. This pisses of the ginger, but who cares? With a finger flake he knocks this ugly ginger out. All this talk and bro is this week. Seeing him fall to the ground, his guards make a reaction as if a old granny has been killed. Yeon-myeong tells Ginger that at his level, no matter how good he is with the sword, he won't be able to use this sword properly, so he should come back after 20 years of training. Seeing our Chad acting cool, Mirio is shocked, as for Yeonjing she is acting as if she fell from the sky. One guard starts barking like a dog, telling Yeon-myeong that how dare he lay hands on the grandson of Nam Jin-soon, the lord of Hyunyang sect, which is protected by the Black Death Alliance, warning Yeon-myeong to not expect to live after what he did. Can we move forward? Just how much nonsense can this side character spout? This nonsense pisses Yeon-myeong off as he tells them that he doesn't care about his status, and asks them what's their connection to the demonic sect. Hearing this, they all make mixed reaction, as there is one in between them that looks like the boss who will be one shot by our Chad. Yeonjing asks Yeon-myeong where they came from, as she and our so-called guard Mirio is scared. We then move on to the ginger as he looks back nervously. This third-rate copy of Bae in this he is something, as he is angry that Yeon-myeong called their sect with a slur, and if our Chad doesn't value his life. The guards tells this was to stay behind them, but instead their head goes flying around. Seeing them dead, the ginger now loses all its flavor, falling to the ground. Many demonic soldiers pop up from the ground as the leader tells them that from now onward they, the Heavenly Moon Brigade, will be taking care of this ginger. The rest of his previous guards gets killed. The ugly punk is amazed by the fact that Yeon-myeong saw through their concealment that was perfect. Moving on to Yeon-myeong, he doesn't care, as for his subordinates all of them are crying, and his useless guard Mirio is amazed by just what is happening. But what shocked all three of them further is when Yeon-myeong tells them that with the stench of the demon turds reeking from a mile away he could see them from a mile. Yeon-myeong should switch professions and become a roaster, since he tells him that if he was trying to hide his identity, the least he should do is cover his face properly. Mirio thinks that he has gone crazy to roast someone on their looks. As for the bald head, he is holding himself from attacking, telling Yeon-myeong that even after seeing every one of them getting killed he still doesn't feel the sense of urgency. Yeon-myeong asks Shorty to lend him a sword, and he takes a hold of the masterpiece, as Yeon-myeong tells him that if it's urgency he is talking about, it's them that should worry about it instead. Our roaster Yeon-myeong tells them that from where he is standing, them and the ones they killed are all same to him. This pisses Bald Head so much that he orders his minions to escort the young master as he is seriously going to kill out Chad. Yeon-myeong wasn't wrong when he called him ugly dude looks like the fresh turd my dog just released while I was writing this script. One of turds grabs onto Ginger but Yeon-myeong gets surprised when the young master does not recognize them at all. According to Yeon-myeong's observation, this brat probably is not aware of their identities. That's when a voice curses our Chad. It's that ugly fart that is pissed and attacks our Chad for ignoring him. With no reaction his face, Yeon-myeong blocks his attack, and because of the strong exchange of sword a mini explosion occurs. Ugly fart thought that he was faster but still he got knocked back, as he stares at our Chad who was unfazed even after the exchange of their swords. All of a sudden his world starts spinning and he thinks of counterattacking only to find himself dead, while all his subordinates watches his head rolling around. Mirio and Yeonjeong are shocked to witness what just happened. Ginger has almost turned into a paste. While Yeon-myeong is standing in front of the headless body, bro has immaculate drip. According to Yeon-myeong, after swinging the sword, he can definitely feel that it is a masterpiece. The weight distribution between the hilt and blade is near perfect and it's razor sharp without a drop of blood staining it. He tells Shorty that it is truly a masterpiece and he is who carried his legacy as someone amazing as well. Hearing this, Shorty starts to tear up. In a flashback we can see Senior Shorty making this sword, telling Junior Shorty that every valuable object will eventually find its rightful owner, so the sword he is crafting will find its master someday. So no matter what happens he must give this sword to the person who can appreciate its worth. Looking at out Chad, he thinks that he has finally found its rightful owner. Moving on to Yeon-myeong, he asks them if any of them wants more, and suggests them to all attack at once. The next moment this group of nonsense charges towards our Chad, telling him to not underestimate them. Yeon-myeong smiles at them and with a single slash he rips through half of them, then like dancing in water with a set of extremely delicate and fast movements he kills them all with single consecutive strikes. Seeing this, Ginger has decides to turn back into a human. Shorty is also short of words. The girls are shocked and Mirio is getting tired from being surprised, and it's amusing that she was not aware when our Chad learned swordsmanship. In some other place where someone is walking with his two legs, this is the nonsense most narrators use to make the video unnecessary long. The person who is walking thought to himself that everything is going smoothly and effortlessly. This pizza face thinks to himself that the losers from the Black Death Alliance, bastards, is completely unaware that he is from the heavenly demon divine cult. By the way, he is the second son-in-law of Black Death Alliance Hyenso, Nam Jin-soon, but we will call him Pizza Face. Blood is so delusional that he thinks about how his son has the talent befitting the bloodline of the Yun family. This Pizza Face with no sauce is so proud that he thinks that among his peers there is no one who can match him. He clenches his fist in delusion, confident in his pimp son that in the Sichuan assembly, if he can showcase his amazing strength and get into the Black Death Alliance leadership, it will be the first step towards weakening their powers. What a joke! As he smiles, he thinks that by the time they realize what's happening, the demonic path will already have arrived in Sichuan. This Pizza Face is delusional like you guys. In case of you guys you dream about having a girlfriend. A one-armed ant breaks into his pipeless delusion. Pizza Face asks him isn't he one of the member of the Heavenly Moon Brigade who was supposed to guard his son. The one-handed ant tells him that his young master is being attacked by an unknown entity. Hearing this, Pizza Face starts melting, about to lose his mind. We now move on to our Chad, who is busy chopping these trash-like vegetables, showcasing his drip. Showing his cooking to the side characters, they are all dumbfounded, especially Mirio, as she thinks that who is going to take care of this mess. Wondering to herself that if she brought her sister she would have likely passed away for sure. She asks Yeon-myeong why he let one of them escape as he can bring in reinforcements, but Yeon-myeong tells her that he knew that already and purposely let him go. He points his sword towards Junior Pizza Face, telling her that an idiot like him who is not even aware of the demo cult, so there must be someone who hired those ants to protect him. Junior tells Yeon-myeong that he is misunderstanding and he is not from the demon cult, he does not even know who they are. Yeon-myeong stops his blabbering, telling him to shut up as soon he will figure everything out, when the guys are coming here right now. The side characters as always get shocked as a loud scream calls them out. outside Pizza Face has arrived with a colony of ants, warning whoever did this to release the hostage and he will spare his life. Making his Pizza Face a bit stretched, he warns them that if they don't comply he will rip them to shreds and feed it to the beasts. Bold word from a pizza. Yeon-myeong enters the scene with Junior Pizza Face and places his masterpiece pizza cutter on his neck, telling Senior Pizza what he can do about this. Shocking obsessed side characters are again shocked, thinking who the villain is right now, considering the way Yeon-myeong is behaving. Mirio the overthinker thinks that their number is way too much. Just a question, was she not aware that during the test Yeon-myeong slayed over 300 martial artists anyway? She stares at Yeon-myeong, thinking what his plan might be. Pizza Face barks at Yeon-myeong, telling him how dare he, messing with them without knowing their powers. Yeon-myeong tells Pizza Face that he is from the demon cult. He can sense the sinister energy coming from him, which is the impure demonic energy. Yeon-myeong has figured out that he has hidden his identity and come to Sichuan to stir up trouble. He activates his heaven obliterating eye, telling him that the Black Death Alliance most likely is not aware of this, because they won't let it slide if they found this out. Hearing this, Pizza Face starts melting as if he is put in an oven, thinking to himself how Yeon-myeong recognized the suppressed demonic energy. What's more surprising is the fact that our Chad is unharmed after facing the Heavenly Ant Brigade. Pizza Face clenches his teeth, thinking that Yeon-myeong is very dangerous, so he uses the name of his family and commands the Heavenly Moon Brigade to use the reverse blood demonic technique. Hearing this, Mirio and family get shocked. They are going to suffer from trauma by how many times they got shocked. She tells them that the reverse blood demonic technique, it is the technique the Heavenly Brilliance pervert used when he invaded the Tang family. The ant starts burning in fury, looking like carrots. Hearing the family name, Yeon-myeong asks him if they are related to Heavenly Pervert. Pizza Face tells him if that's all he has to say before he dies, I can guarantee the next scene is one of the most badass scenes in Manhwa, almost close to Northern Blade actions. Yeon-myeong tells him that he has no personal grudge against him, but his family destroyed something that's his. Hearing this, Pizza Face has evolved to Pizza Turd, laughing and telling our Chad that his brother has destroyed everything, the Jaegal family, the Myeong family and even the Tang family. Hearing this, Mirio gets angry, ready to her killed and be a burden, but Yeon-myeong stops her, because if they intervene they will only end up getting themselves killed. So right now they have no choice but to trust our Chad. Pizza Face orders Evolved Chicken Wings Army to kill our Chad. Snaky manifests himself, telling Yeon-myeong that they look pretty fired up and if he has any plan. Yeon-myeong activates protagonist's Riz. Just wait for the next scene. He gets into position and says the word eliminate, swing his sword and the entire world becomes colorless as the army charges him. What a masterpieces! In the next moment the world is painted red and every single one of gets sliced in half except Pizza Face. The side characters does their regular drill, becoming shocked, staring at the painting our Chad drew with blood. Moving on to Pizza Face, he thinks this is impossible when all 70 of the ants were using the reverse blood demonic technique. Even a master at the peak realm would not be this overwhelmingly strong. This is just like what happened at the cult. In a flashback, when Pizza Face was still uncooked, he witnessed the left guardian of the demon cult and the right guardian of the demonic cult beaten to pulp, and this concluded the invitation ceremony of the vice leader of the Heavenly Demon Church. The victor was the Heavenly Pervert. Bro thinks he has Riz that he never wears clothes, lifeless noob with a pea-sized machine. His brother, whose martial prowess which overwhelmed the left and right guardian at their peaks, the overwhelming pressure he is feeling is one that he has not felt from anyone since that day. The overpowering aura is excluded from our Mega Chad, my son Yeon-myeong. For the first time I have seen a sensible one-chapter character, getting on the ground telling Yeon-myeong to spare him. He changes his prospect and tells him that he will give up his life so he should just spare his son. He is not aware what grudge he has against his family, but the Junior Pizza is different from him, an ordinary kid who doesn't even know what he is involved in. Yeon-myeong with a cold voice tells him that if he really is ordinary. Telling him that this trash tried to kill a blacksmith just because he didn't give him a good sword. The trash tried to bark, but enough screen time of this dandies as Yeon-myeong silences him for good. Right before the eyes of the Pizza Face, now he is evolving into something I cannot describe. Yeon-myeong asks him if he is angry, but the families of the people they have killed must have felt the same. So Yeon-myeong doesn't feel sorry for him, so he has no intention of sparing anything related to the heavenly demon cult. Pizza Face has turned into Pizza Turd, as from his eyes our Chad finishes him off. We then move on to the next scene inside the shop, where Yeon-myeong is kinda in a tough spot because the blacksmith just gives him the sword, and as always the dup is shocked. Shorty tells him that he weren't here, he would probably be dead, so he should consider this sword as a payment. He gets emotional, telling Yeon-myeong that his master wanted a rightful owner for this sword, so he should be satisfied even if it is given away. Yeon-myeong is getting shy and the two reacting puppies are cheering him, congratulating him. Yeon-myeong decides to take the sword. Just look at that troll's face, he tells Shorty to give him a scabbard because of how flashy the sword is. Snakey manifests himself, thinking that Yeon-myeong is much more impressive than he thought, for a Tang family member to use a sword like that. If anyone called him the Sword King, when Yeon-myeong grows up he will undoubtedly be the strongest martial artist in the world. A huge crowd has formed a line in front of a huge gate. One the nobodies tells his friend to look at the direction he is pointed. He actually pointed towards our Chad, telling if he saw someone like him among the successors of the Sichuan sect. This turd assumes that both his guards are women, so he must be a womanizer. These retards are getting unnecessary screen time, as the first nobody tells his friend that the Sichuan assembly is a major event, so what's the point of him coming here if he is going to act like this? Second nobody assumes that our Chad's martial skills are trash. Why are we wasting time on this brainless ants again? What they are worried about is that the women are all going crazy and the first loser thinks that he has already lost even before fighting. Our Chad has such good looks that even the judges think to themselves that they have seen many young martial artists, but none of them can match our Chad when it comes to looks. One of them asks our boy which clan or sect he is from. Hearing the name the Tang clan, they both gets nervous and shocked as our Chad intercedes himself as Tang Yeon-myeong, the young master of the Sichuan Tang family. We now move on to some other place where the half-naked turd that is set on killing our Chad. She is informed that Yeon-myeong has registered his name on the participant list early this morning, and then he went straight to his quarters. She smirks, thinking to herself that it's alright for our Chad to rest for now, since she will kills our Chad and avenge our grudge. In a flashback we see her on the ground crying while holding a book in her hand. The R where she is now is a frequent hangout for bandits and they at people who are alone. Thankfully she was saved by Senior Ant. This was the first time she met him. She was surviving as the concubine of a high-ranking military office, but she was nothing more than a plaything. The one day this old hag died suddenly in an accident, this ugly trash had an hobby of collecting martial art manuals. Wanting a new life, she grabbed one of them and ran away. That is how she ended up meeting gray-haired gorilla. After a while he taught her martial arts and they grew close to each other. He was originally from the Wudong sect and they instilled the basics to defend herself. After mastering her basics she started practicing the manual she had stolen. It was Red Lotus Flame Art, but misfortune won't leave her alone, as from that point onwards, her body began to weaken day by day as she had contacted an incurable disease. Realizing that she doesn't have much time left, she left gray-haired gorilla, because she didn't want him to see her in a pitiful state. A lot of time passed and she learned that gorilla had become the head of the Darkness Silent Sword, and was quickly gaining power. On the other hand, she was dying and the constant pain made her wish that she just end her life, but her regrets won't let her die and her last wish was to just see Grey Gorilla once. That's when they found her out with Black Lizard tagging alone. He tells him that she is the one that possesses remarkable talent but can't understand why she is on the brink of death. Black Lizard tells him that she learned the martial arts of both yin and yang, so her vitality and energy conflict with each other, so it's natural that her body is dying. Lizard tells her that she should recite the formula of the martial arts she has learned. To her this was a stroke of fate, and like she was hypnotized by his words she spoke it with all her will. After listening to the entire formula, Lizard took less than half an hour and created a new version of the Red Lotus Flame Art. She was shocked that he altered it in such a way that a woman could use it with her yang energy. He tells her that if she reaches a high level the accumulated internal injuries will naturally heal, so she should just keep practicing. The person who saved her was no one other than the Black Death Alliance leader who ruled over Sichuan. To show her loyalty for saving her life, she established the Transforming Heart sect and joined the Black Death Alliance. Since Gorilla was also a part of the Black Death Alliance, she thought that she could rekindle their old relationship. He clearly rejected her, telling her that he found her because of her talent and not for any other reason, so she shouldn't get caught in old feeling anymore. He had drifted far away from than she has imagined, but she cannot blame him since she left him first. Let's take a second to make sure we are in the right story. What's this third-rate romance story anyway? She didn't lose hope that it'd come again. She suppressed her feeling, hoping that one day he would understand her sincerity. Then one day she heard the news that the Darkness sect was annihilated by Archad. That day she made up her mind that she will kill the young master of the Tang family, Archad. Moving to the present, she just wants to track down Yeon-myeong and kill him right now, but he is someone that has surpassed the peak realm, so even with her Red Lotus flame art it would be hard to kill him. She smirks, holding herself a little longer as she has made a plan at the upcoming Sichuan assembly, which he will never be able to escape. She falls on her bed, making an ugly face, waiting for the destruction of Archad. Her story was sad, but now she can die since she has half the chapter for herself. We move on to another manor where Archad is meditating. While he was doing so, Snaky manifests himself. He thinks that Yeon-myeong is a monster. He has been disrupting his mental training for over an hour, but he didn't even move an inch. It is hard to believe that it is the focus of a kid. He would believe that if it was an old master who had rejuvenated. He cannot figure out what exactly he is doing. In his mind realm, he is currently facing his master in a one-on-one duel. They both get ready to attack, positioning their sword into a similar stance. They both attack at the same time, using the skill eliminates as a huge explosion occurs because of their class of swords. As the bright light fades away, they are both unmatched until Yeon-myeong gets split in half. Yeon-myeong expected this, that it is impossible to full manifest the eliminate technique with the green heart poison technique. Even though he cut down 70 people with the eliminate technique, it was only a degraded version that couldn't display even half of its powers. If it was in its full powers, it would have split the entire area in half. In his past life he used a mental technique called the destructive force. Only by mastering this he can truly unleash the power of the eliminate technique. Destructive force has a nature that weakens the body, causing ordinary people to die suddenly, but only Yeon-myeong and his master were born with the talent to control power, were capable of using the technique. Now that he has reached the peak realm and his body has become stronger, if he mastered destructive force he could quickly gain the martial prowess of his past life. Yeon-myeong wonders to himself that he has become too attached to the sword, making him question this. Although the technique is degraded, he still managed to manifest the essence of eliminate with his current strength. The reason that it is so weak is because the current mental technique doesn't align with his swordsmanship. He thinks that he can modify the green heart poison technique to align with his swordsmanship. Yeon-myeong suddenly wakes up to see his face marked and our troll is drawing on his face. Yeon-myeong tells her to stop, but she won't. Mirio gets shocked, asking Yeon-myeong if he was sleeping, which Yeon-myeong doesn't agree, asking her if they are ready. Mirio says they have been waiting for him. Hearing this, Yeon-myeong tells them to head out. Yeon-myeong asks Mirio how long she is going to treat Yeon-myeong like her friend. Mirio tells her why would she care when Yeon-myeong himself can't say anything. Then they both start fighting with each other, making Yeon-myeong fall in a tough spot. Yeon-myeong tells her that Yeon-myeong is not wrong. Hearing this, Mirio gets pissed, asking him if he is siding with her. But that doesn't mean she has to tiptoe around those guys from the unorthodox sections. They both agree on this, and Yeon-myeong tells her that there's no need to worry about dignity in front of a pile of corpses. But before all this, she attacked Yeon-myeong. No, now she has to pay her back tenfolds. At the heart of the Black Death Alliance, people are waiting for the competition to commence. With music being played by women who all look the same, guest artist became lazy. Then we move on the horrible bangs women. She explains the rules of the Sichuan assembly. It's basically a place where one either takes or loses their interest. I will keep it short. This disposable character got too much screen time already. Power struggles are sorted in this competition, and by the tradition even life and death duels are permissible. Little Shoddy and Old Man Rabbit are excited. I named him Rabbit cause he looks like a nice guy. The stakes are all written in a contract that's sealed and the winner will claim it. These rights are granted for 5 years, and anyone challenges the outcome, the main sect will validate the results. If someone were to break the rules, it will be considered an insult to the alliance. As such, they will pay an appropriate price. Hearing this, the nobodies get shocked. The author should give these disposables less screen time. we have yet to see our Chad. She concludes the explanation and then tells everyone that in this year's assembly they are being graced by the distinguished swordsman, who is the sword of the 9 rings, our branch-eating rabbit. Hearing this, everyone is shocked, and nobody spouts out that the sword of the 9 rings is one of the 6 grand masters of the evil path, which is the strongest force in the Black Death Alliance. Fatty beside Yeon-myeong is amazed to meet Rabbit, since it's been a dream to meet him once. We now move on to our main Chad. What surprises Yeon-myeong is that Rabbit has reached the Fire Realm. Rabbit introduces himself and tells them that he has come to the assembly with the leader's daughter Yeonwi. He expects to see good performance from all of them, as such horrible bangs announces that Rabbit will oversee every life and death duels. If there is anyone that seeks a life and death permission, they must first ask for the master's permission. As she was about to end the speech and nobody raises his hand, asking for Rabbit's permission, challenging our Mega Chad to a duel. Life and death duel. Blood thinks just anyone can fight him. Bro should be grateful that he is a 1-chapter character. Anyways, we will call him Nobody Number 1. He is the son of that gray-haired gorilla, from his appearance and that he is carrying 2 swords. Rabbit figure out that he is from the Great Darkness Silent Sword sect. Rabbit thinks to himself that it is probably revenge that he is after, but it would be difficult since he heard that Yeon-myeong is the one who defeated gray-haired gorilla, who is quite strong in the alliance. Nobody Number 1 greets Rabbit as the successor of the Darkness Silent Sword sect. He wants to avenge his father, who was killed by the young family head of the Tang clan. Hearing this nonsense, Mirio gets pissed because since they were the ones to attack them first, Yeon-myeong tells her to keep quiet or they will hear her. Since he is determined, Rabbit allows the duel and tells Yeon-myeong to step on the stage. They both get onto the stage in the same time, and as they come face to face to kill one another, it is now confirmed that he is 1-chapter character. While everyone looks at Yeon-myeong, instead of talking about his skills and strength, all the women are bothered about his looks, including the clan leader's daughter. Rabbit, seeing her reaction, thinks that she is practically glowing with excitement. He thinks that it will be quite a disappointment if Yeon-myeong loses the duel. Blood must realize that even without plot armor he can one-shot him. He states that no one except the combatants, their guards or attendants, can interfere in the life and death duel. Moreover, there are no restrictions on attack methods and they are free to ignore the opponent's surrender since it is a life and death duel, asking both of them if they are ready. Lifeless Nobody and our Chad agree to the conditions. Since they both represent their sex, they are permitted to have their guards and attendants present. Rabbit asks Yeon-myeong if he will not bring his. Yeon-myeong with his straight face tells him that he bought a guards but instructed them to not interfere, because it's whether 1 person or 3 it won't change the outcome. Hearing this, Nobody Number 1, Number 2 and 3 all get pissed. They are uglier than by dog's feet. Hearing this, Rabbit finds it quite bold as he announces the fight to start. All 3 nobodies take out their sword but Yeon-myeong remains unfazed. With some gestures, Nobody 1 instructs his lackeys. They pretend to be some copy character of Black Myth Wukong, since these retards looks like monkeys. The sword energy they were excluding makes everyone shocked, because it is the signature dark sword energy of the Great Silent Sword Sex Master. As Trash gets ready, Nobles 1 and 2 charge towards our Chad with their ugly face. His plan is that his men will grab his attention, and the moment he finds an opening he plans to tear our Chad Yeon-myeong with his trash martial art technique. But he gets shocked for some reason, because instead of attacking our Chad, they both crash to the ground, silencing everyone as they stare at what has happened, including the Rabbit and horrible bangs. They can't figure out what happened and why they collapsed, until they notice that they got feathered needles stuck in their necks. Rabbit is surprised because the needles were so fast that it was hard even for him to see. Yeon-myeong opens his mouth for the 2nd time in this video and asks him how long he is going to stay in a stance since he is getting bored. Hearing this, Nobody Number 1 gets so pissed that he tells Yeon-myeong that he is going to kill him. He pushes his feet forward and charges so fast that the ground breaks, charging with 2 swords ready to one-shot our Chad. As he slashes, his sword disappears, shocking the disposable character. He notices that Yeon-myeong is standing behind him, telling him that among the people who attacked the Tang clan during the competition, there were 2 people who used sword energies like him. Yeon-myeong injects a needle on high and tells him that one of them was his father, the previous head, and the other was the spy. But compared to them, he falls far short of either of them. Hearing this, he starts crying as rage boils inside him. Don't tell me he is going to turn Super Saiyan Broly. As Yeon-myeong was leaving thinking to himself that they were the one that started this, but they all blabber about taking revenge, moving to the useless crowd, they cannot believe that the battle ended so fast. One of them thinks that the skill gap is really big, or the successor of the Darkness clan is just lacking. Nobody is enraged, not because he cannot avenge his father, because he is weaker than his stepbrother. If you can't remember him, watch the compilation video, because even I cannot. That's when an ant shouts that the battle is not over, as nobody's sword turns pitch black and he launches a final attack on Yeon-myeong. This surprises our Chad, and nobody will prove that he is better than his stepbrother and survive one more chapter. But Yeon-myeong breaks his bubble as he grabs onto the sword with his bare hands, shocking the nobody who wanted a bit more screen time. With his fist he shatters the sword into pieces, shocking Rabbit and his niece with the ugly bangs about to cry. The same goes for the crowd, but this time the duo of retards are not, because they saw this way too much. As such, the nobody could not survive even this chapter and dies. Rest in peace, you will not be remembered. Yeon-myeong intended to take it easy on him, but it surprised him that even after being hit by his poison needle, that numbs hearing and paralyzes the body, and exhibits such a skill while facing his death. Rabbit attracts Yeon-myeong's attention as he finds it remarkable that our Chad showed him a blade technique at a crucial time like this. He heard that the Tang clan trains their hands to handle sharp weapons or wear gloves, but he didn't expect them to block a sword energy with his bare hands. If Blood saw Yeon-myeong's sword skill, he would beg to be his disciple. Yeon-myeong thinks to himself that he blocked it because of the dragon scale armor, but there is no need to reveal it, so he tells him that the clan has that sort of thing. Rabbits find it a fine display and acknowledges the fight, announcing our Chad as the winner. Additionally, he is free to continue more duels or stop if he chooses. Like the Chad he is, Yeon-myeong tells him that he will continue. However, he shocks the Rabbit by asking him if the Sword of Nine Rings permits. It wouldn't matter if everyone under the Black Death Alliance attacks him at once, the result will be same either way. Just to make it clear, he is not only talking about the participants but everyone under the alliance. We move on to the stage where our Chad is standing on the arena with the overconfident nobody lying dead on the ground. One loser from the crowd tells Yeon-myeong that he has gone crazy to ask them all to come at him at once. Another ugly rat tells Yeon-myeong that he is getting too arrogant just because he defeated one opponent, he is acting all high and mighty. These retards are dumb enough to tell our Chad that Yeon-myeong is not someone special, as he is the young family head of a fallen clan, and these ants will show our Chad what real power is. Delusional is the only word I will say. That when a voice grabs the attention of Yeon-myeong, as it's the ugly bangs that tells Yeon-myeong that although life and death duels are permitted, the Sichuan assembly is not a brawl for street thugs. Chick should first fix her hair then talk big. She says how this is an official event where representatives of each sect showcase their martial skills. So as the organizers of this year's assembly, they cannot allow Yeon-myeong to ignore the rules and act on his own whims. Just how did this one chapter character survive at least 4 to 5 chapters? Rabbit intervenes, telling her that there is no need to be this strict, as he is curious to see how far our bold Yeon-myeong can go, but considering the spirit of the Sichuan assembly, if things were to go south he will step in to stop it. Since she cannot disobey her superiors, she make a face as if she will break her teeth, as announces that since the Grand Master allows it she will not say anything. Rabbit tells Yeon-myeong that the Tang family's assassination techies are specialized for large-scale destruction, so a large disorganized attack will only cause confusion. So he will limit the number of participants on the combined attack to 3, and Yeon-myeong may choose his opponents. If these conditions are unsatisfactory, he can speak now. Yeon-myeong with a smirk turns around and with a confident face turns around to tell Rabbit that he accepts all his terms. A few moments later, Rabbit is shocked. Blood went from a Chad to a cat. He made the wrong judgment because he thought that after facing Yeon-myeong for a few rounds, the participants would figure out how to counter his feathered needles and gradually break through the assassination techniques, giving them a chance to win. But it was all a dream, as in less than an hour over half of the turd participants lost their lives. What's surprising to him is that Yeon-myeong only used his feathered needles and the blade catching technique, yet none of the challengers could even put up a fight. He is now concerned because, judging by Yeon-myeong's internal energy, she should not be so strong, but he cannot understand how there is such an overwhelming skill difference. At the current rate, the entire Sichuan assembly will be jeopardized, as the remaining participants are quitting, running away with their lives. That's when another one-chapter character gets introduced, as everyone is running this trash stands as if he is some overpowered protagonist. entering the arena with a loud stomp that shatters the ground, garnering the attention of the running participants as well as Rabbit and the two trolls. The is from the Rising Phoenix sect and challenges our Chad. He tells the others that there is no need for the others to step in, as his guards and he himself is enough for Yeon-myeong, big talks coming out from a mummy. He mocks Yeon-myeong by telling him that his little whining streak ends, whatever his name is we will call him Banana Peel. Rabbit is impressed that instead of running away like the others he is stepping up to challenge our Chad, which was expected from the Rising Phoenix sect. Rabbit asks Yeon-myeong if he has any objection or he wants to continue the life and death duel. Yeon-myeong says that he has none but thinks to himself that this Banana Peel has a very unusual body that even in his past life he never saw something like this. Since Yeon-myeong accepted the terms the life and death battle will continue. Without wasting any time Yeon-myeong throws his needles at super fast speed, the two frog-like guards uses their body to block the needles. Yeon-myeong notices that instead of dying, the needles break after colliding with their body. Senior troll Mirio gets shocked that the feathered needles bounced off, that when Yeonjeong notices that their skin has dried and cracked like a tree bark. Disgusting to think they copied one of my favorite character Groot into a third-rate villain. Rabbit thinks to himself that the withered tree divine art causes the practitioner's body to wither like an old tree, in exchange their skin becomes as hard as a bark and tough enough to withstand even sword energy. Additionally their muscles and bones denser increasing their strength, so now according to the Rabbit our Chad might be in trouble. As the Banana Peel tried to strike our Chad in less than a second dodges his attack and gets behind him, his movement was so fast that for a second even the Rabbit couldn't keep up with his movements. He wonders if Yeon-myeong really mastered a high-level movement technique. As for Yeon-myeong he is behind one of the lackeys ready to strike with a needle in his hand. Our Chad shoves the needle right into his head, because of it being soaked with poison. Lackey number 2 gets pissed and charges towards Yeon-myeong fro harming his senior brother. Yeon-myeong grabs on his mouth and tells him that he will test if his tongue is as tough as the rest of his body, but unfortunately the trash died. It looked like Yeon-myeong was too rough with his new toys. Yeon-myeong notices that a fist was aimed towards him, but in a millisecond he dodges the attacks, surprising Banana Peel. This time Yeon-myeong uses his internal energy to launch a palm attack. Using internal energy Yeon-myeong wanted to break his body but his hand fended off. The trash tired to attack Yeon-myeong but instead our Chad grabs him by the neck. With a smile on his face he says that he will give him brownie points for his body being tough. But if that's all he had to show he must have been delusional to think that he could beat our Chad just relying on his tough skin. It's as if our Chad is mocking him telling him that he has nothing else to show him. Surprisingly the retard starts laughing telling Yeon-myeong that he must be dumb to think that toughness is the only thing he has. He has been waiting for a moment when our Chad would get hold of him. Yeon-myeong remains quite not answering him. Banana Peel goes crazy as a green aura excludes from his body, telling Yeon-myeong that this is the true essence of the withered three divine art. In a flashback that we don't want to see his father explains to him the true power of the withered three divine art, but it cannot even be revealed to the word, and if he were to use it he must kill his opponent. Banana Peel thinks this is the right moment as he uses the ultimate move. As the aura starts surrounding our Chad, he barks about how he will absorb all his internal energy. Yeon-myeong sighs and tells him that he better stop what he is doing or else he will be doing something unusual. But the Banana Peel has lost its mind already. I feel bad for him. I mean Yeon-myeong has an almost infinite internal energy so blood is gonna explode. Start with another flashback where the father of Banana Peel was wandering to increase his powers. He encountered a potato in Tibet. The senior potato recognized junior potato's potential and taught him the martial arts known as the withered tree divine art. Although the technique's advanced form has been lost and was limited to external applications. This martial art was perfect for Junior Potato because he specialized in catching blades with his hands. However, this guy wanted true mastery and joined the Black Death Alliance. After Lizard looked through the martial arts, he figured out that the lost part was not very difficult since every martial arts name holds the essence of its technique. Moving to the present, the Banana Peel proudly states that the name wasn't simply given because the body withers like a tree. It's because the dried-out outer shell and the internal energy are tied to the dantian-like roots, transforming the body into a true withered tree, allowing the user to absorb the opponent's energy like a tree drawing water from earth. He laughs like me when I make a viral video warning Yeon-myeong that he will drain him dry. That's when this ant notices something weird. nothing seems to happening to our chat at all, making him question himself how this is possible. All of a sudden he notices that his arms is melting, making him wonder what's going on his arm. This ant starts crying, asking Yeon-myeong what he did to his body, as Yeon-myeong look at him with a big smile on his face. Another flashback occurs. This one is important. In Yeon-myeong's past life, regardless of the affiliation with all the sects, there were 3 individuals who are considered the most dangerous in all of the marital world. They were called the 3 vicious starts of chi absorption. As their name suggests, they used the chi absorption technique, which drained their internal energy. These 3 ugly rats roamed around together using the technique to anyone they came across. 2 of the 3 ants reached the flame reel, making them nearly impossible to subdue, but in the Alliance Hall, 3 heads were present which belonged to the ants. The person who did this demanded his reward for killing them. They asked the person if he single-handedly took all 3 of them down. It was no one other than Yeon-myeong's master. Basically, he was testing a new sword technique, but they were so weak that they died and couldn't even survive a single stroke. Yeon-myeong's master once told him that they tried to absorb his internal energy, but they couldn't handle his weakness chi and died. Yeon-myeong thinks of that since ordinary martial artists cannot withstand weakness chi, which has a nature of decay. In this life he has yet to master weakness chi yet, but that doesn't matter. With a smirk on his face, Yeon-myeong tells him that he warned him to not do anything foolish, asking him if his family did not teach him not to consume just anything, since Yeon-myeong's internal energy is no different than pure venom. Since his arms are hurting, he uses venomous chi and burns him to ashes in front of everyone that is shocked, including our rabbit, while Yeon-myeong is busy cleaning his hands. Rabbit is worried that if this continues they will lose to many men and orders Bangs that they need to stop it now. That's when he notices that she has held little waifu hostage, telling him that they must continue until Yeon-myeong is dead. Rabbit cannot believe just what is happening. Bangs tells him that Yeon-myeong's skills had far surpassed what she had expected, so she tells the sword if the 9 rings to kill the young Lord Archad. Yeon-myeong sighs when he diverts his eyes to see that the atmosphere at the stage has suddenly shifted. Rabbit asks her that how can she take Yeon-hee as hostage, and the kind of grudge she can have against a junior disciple. He gets shocked when she tells him that Yeon-myeong is no ordinary junior disciple and of the death of the white-haired gorilla is insignificant to him. To her, that gorilla's death was no small matter, so she must avenge him no matter the cost. In this life I want a girl like her who love me even after I am dead, even if this means that she has to repay kindness with vengeance. Rabbit with an enraged face asks her if she volunteered to oversee the Sichuan assembly because of this reason. She warns Rabbit that he is aware of her flame techniques, so she can easily kill a fragile girl like our waifu as she inflicts a small wound on her. Mirio asks Yeonjian why they are fighting each other, but she has no idea. With an extremely enraged face, Rabbit releases his aura, telling her that if she is confident that he cannot cut her head from this range. Under the pressure, she tells him that as he has reached the fire realm he certainly can, but if he loses his temper and swings recklessly, he might leave a scar of our little waifu. Since Rabbit is in a tough situation, he puts his sword back and tells her to wait, as he will kill her after dealing with Yeon-myeong. With a cold look she tells him that once our Chad is dead she will gladly accept her death. The bystanders cannot believe that to stop Yeon-myeong one of the 6 grandmasters have to step in personally. As they come face to face, Yeon-myeong tells him that he had not planned on fighting him today. In response he apologizes to him since it's a shameful situation, but he has no choice, since she has something that she must prioritize over her own life, so we hope that our Chad understand. Let's all pray that my channel and Rabbit both survive, which they probably will. Rabbit will end this quickly and make it painless. Blood is talking like Yami, except one has a cigarette, the other has a branch. All of a sudden, like retards, the ants starts playing music which surround the entire arena. Yeon-myeong thinks that music at this time is odd and there is something wrong with the melody. Rabbit gets even more pissed, asking Bangs just what is it that she is doing. Using the sound technique, which is not only harming them but also the innocent heirs of the other clans as they all quiver in pain. She blocks our waifu's ears and tells him that it does not matter since she is helping him, assuring him that Yeon-hee will not be affected, so there is no need to worry. Rabbit tell her that just how much shame will she bring since all of this is not necessary. Just look at our troll's face, man, that got me. Bangs tells him that if she wanted to stop she wouldn't have started it, as everyone, even Mirio, was barely holding on. With a psychotic behavior, she tells him that Yeon-myeong must experience the terror of death, so he should hurry up and kills our Chad. Sorry sister, but that overpowered troll is probably picking on his nose. Yeon-myeong thinks that they are being too loud, shocking the rabbit. He uses his whirling frenzy dance and throws his spinning blades as they fly across the musicians, breaking their instruments, shocking the ugly bangs and overshocked rabbit as their head went flying everywhere. While Yeon-myeong calmly collects his rings, dude need to stop his ultra instinct like Riz. While they were still as shocked at what just happened, Yeon-myeong asks him that he has taken care of the annoying sound, so he should finish what he started. Blood has got tear look even when he is speaking. Rabbit stands on the stage with his sword out, witnessing hundreds of dead bodies lying all around the stage. He is not nervous and confused at the same time, wondering if the Tang clan had such martial art, because of how destructive the technique is, which is fitting for the Tang clan's goal of mass killing. And such a technique was easily demonstrated by our Chad. This delusional rabbit thinks that if Yeon-myeong continues to grow like this, he will certainly pass his level. Watch the full video to see him getting owned. As he thinks if it is really necessary to kill a prodigy like Yeon-myeong, our Chad is pulling out his sword, which stuns him. Rabbit with a confused look asks what he is doing and guesses if Yeon-myeong is planning to face him with the sword, while he points his towards him, ready to barbecue it today. Rabbit is not again confused. Blood got confused so many times in a single chapter. He thinks that Yeon-myeong does not realize his position, while it's the other way around. Delulu Rabbit thinks that Yeon-myeong is now in a position where his best technique would be lacking. Yeon-myeong gets straight to the point and tells him that his hidden weapon skills are nothing but cheap tricks in front of his sword. Blood is such a troll that with a straight face he tells him that he wants to learn a thing or two from Rabbit, while bro is the sword god himself. Rabbit sigs telling Yeon-myeong that he is beyond audacious at this point. He is outright absurd, but since they want to make Rabbit a nice likable character, he tells Yeon-myeong that he likes his spirit, so he will let Yeon-myeong make the first move. Hearing this, Yeon-myeong smirks while Snaky manifests itself, asking our Chad if he is planning to go all out. Yeon-myeong tells Snaky that since his opponent is a master of the fire realm, he will go out in this case. Huge vibrations start occurring in the entire area as Rabbit gets overwhelmed by immense pressure. Yeon-myeong releases a few of his seals, releasing an energy strong enough that it lightens up the entire arena, causing strings winds that bangs is flying out, and every one of the ants in our troll who never saw Yeon-myeong's energy is dazed. Rabbit thinks that it is impossible for a human to possess this much internal energy. The terrifying part is that he didn't sense Yeon-myeong hiding this much power at all. Well, Rabbit is different from those ants, and he immediately realizes that Yeon-myeong is far beyond his level. As Yeon-myeong transformed into a Super Saiyan Green tells Rabbit that he is ready for the lesson. Rabbit is scared and cannot believe how Yeon-myeong managed to reach such a level in such a young age. The presence Yeon-myeong is currently radiating is similar to the one that he felt from Lizard. Yeon-myeong asks him what he is doing since he allowed Yeon-myeong to strike first. Rabbit is in a tough position since he dug his own grave at this point. He tells Yeon-myeong that he was unaware that Yeon-myeong was hiding his strength, but he cannot back out now, since Yeoni's life will be in danger. But the problem is that if Rabbit fights with his full power, one of them will be sure to die, so he cannot just sit there and take his attack, sincerely apologizing for it. Rabbit thinks that if he were to drag this battle long enough he will eventually lose, so he will end this quickly using the technique Black Lizard taught him. In a flashback we see that when Rabbit reached the fire realm, the flow of his energy entering his body felt different. Lizard congratulates him for breaking the wall of his talent and reaching the fire realm. According to Lizard, even though his meridians reached a state where they are full connected and he managed to reverse his aging, yet the scars on his face remains. Rabbit tells him that his abilities are still lacking, but he should be grateful for what he has achieved, and he finds the rugged look more manly. Lizard's laugh, remembering the face he made trying to look fierce. Well, now no matter what happens I don't want them dead. This is wholesome. Rabbit tells him that instead of congratulating he is here mocking him. But that is not the case, as Lizard tells him that since he has undergone full transformation, he will guide him to a new realm. His transformation into a stronger body and skills are impressive, but his sword techniques he has been using are limited. Since he has now become physically strong, he will teach him the technique of the strong sword. According to Rabbit, softness controls strength. True strength is derived from flexibility. The subtleties of softness that he has learned from the illusion sword can be transformed into the strength of the strong sword. Whatever that meant, my mind got messed up reading all this. Seeing him perform the technique, Yeon-myeong is shocked as Rabbit prepares his technique called the All Path Lead to One Sword. He has just recently started mastering this technique, so it is not perfect yet, so his plan is to finish this fight in one strike. Yeon-myeong impressed tells him that that Rabbit would use the chaotic illusion sword technique since he is from the sword technique, but he didn't expect that he would be able to pull off even a rudimentary version of the strong sword. Rabbit is shocked and getting nervous, asking Yeon-myeong how he knows about the strong sword. Our Chad's sword starts glowing. That instead of shocking Rabbit shocked him because he has not fully mastered the strong sword technique. Yet Yeon-myeong is wielding a completely perfect version of it, as strong blue energy starts radiating from his body. In a flashback we learn that swordsmanship has always followed one of the following principles, which are heaviness, speed, breaking, illusion, scattering, severing and sharpness. Each of this technique created by mastering one of these principles. Yeon-myeong's master told him that among all of them mastering strength is extremely rare, as an ordinary body cannot withstand the force of its own sword technique. There is a cheap copy path where flexibility can lead to strength, but that's what ordinary people try. As for the one Yeon-myeong is aiming for, it comes from the breakthrough to the extreme end of decay, which is called the ultimate strength. Moving to the present, Yeon-myeong is radiating constant energy, thinking to himself that his body is different from his previous life. The memory of using the strong sword remains. Although it's been a while since he has used strength, so controlling his powers might be a little tricky. So Rabbit must brace himself, while Rabbit is now in a tough position. Hearing this, all the nobodies, bangs, and our trolls are shocked. All their purpose is to get killed or get shocked. As they both charges towards each other, swinging both of their sword enveloped with sword energy. As the battle continues from the manors, the elders can sense powerful aura from the direction of the gathering. One old beggar thinks that one of the 6 grandmasters released his energy to inspire the young prodigies. But Senior Tree thinks that it's too much inspiration, that he can feel the energy from this far away. Beggar tells Tree that it's none of their business what happens, since the assembly should last at least 10 days. Tree tells everyone to keep their cups down since the energy is intensifying. All of a sudden, a huge power blast to the sky, literally releasing energy waves. In some other corner of Sichuan, Lizard was chilling by himself when he notices the energy waves concerned what his brother is up to. At the arena, as they both continue their battle, Rabbit drops his plant and spits out blood. Realizing that he died in a single exchange of swords, rest in peace Rabbit, you will be remembered. Even in his dying moment he is concerned about the safety of Yeonhee. Witnessing what has just happened, Bangs is out of words. The people that were in the main clan all rush into the arena to figure out just what had happened. They get shocked when they see that Rabbit, who was the Sword of 9 Rings, was defeated, as he coldly stands with his broken sword. Since these people are unaware of just what has happened, they ask Bangs for an explanation. The psycho starts barking that our Chad, the young head of the Tang family, killed Rabbit. As more people enter the arena, they figure out that the Tang clan is the one that annihilated the Silent Sword sect and the Heaven and Earth sect. The biggest problem, however, is that Yeon-myeong doesn't even look like an adult yet. He managed to kill one of the 6 grandmasters. The crazy bitch has gone mad as she tells everyone that Rabbit was killed trying to protect Yeonhee, so if they cannot avenge Rabbit or protect Yeonhee, the sect leader will be seriously angry. Hearing this, all of their faces turn serious as they all get nervous. Psycho Bangs orders them to kill the young family head this instant. All of them think that something is off about what she said, but what she said is the truth, then all their lives are at stake. As they all charge at our Chad, one of them tells other that since Yeon-myeong defeated the Sword of the 9 Rings, it won't be easy to defeat him, so they all charge towards him all at once. Mirio gets shocked just by the sheer number of attackers. As for Yeonjeong, she is tired of being scared and shocked. As 1,000 of them charge towards Yeon-myeong, he puts back his sword, telling the dead Rabbit that if it was not for the tricks Bangs played, this would not have happened, which is unfortunate. His swordsmanship was impressive, but the outcome was already decided by the difference in the refinement of their skills. Still, he earned our Chad's respect because he died without letting go of his sword, which is the death of a true swordsman. Our Chad takes his sword and tells him that although he was his enemy, in honor of such a great swordsman, our Chad will make sure that his journey to the afterlife will not be boring. The trashy Bangs agitates the bunch by telling them that Yeon-myeong is holding Rabbit's sword. Yeon-myeong throws his sword in the air and uses his internal energy to break it into shards. The charging ants gets hit by them until they realize that they are being hit by sword shards. One granny tells Yeon-myeong that he is doing cheap tricks now and tells Yeon-myeong that he is delusional if he thinks he can stop 2,000 of them with just sword shards. Well, Blood is the one using cheap tricks since they are literally ganging up on our boy. Yeon-myeong tells them to deal with such ants it is more than enough, telling that even though they are tiny fragments there is no need to be scared. As he splits her in half, in a matter of few seconds these ants are getting chopped by vegetables. Using Yeon-myeong's internal energy he is using a cheap version of the 10,000 flower rain, as a tornado of sword shards surround him. The dead tree and Muram Albert Einstein are panicking, telling everyone that his must be the Tang family's secret technique. As the assault continues and bodies flying everywhere, a guy tells everyone that this must be the 10,000 flower rain. Hearing this, Woodface cannot believe that a technique that was long lost resurfaced again. Snakey manifests itself and tells Yeon-myeong that they are dumb to think that this is the 10,000 heavenly flower rain, as they have never even seen it with their own eyes. Yeon-myeong calls for Mirio, while Yeon-jeong is making sneak peeks. Archad tells her that he will keep them from getting near her, but if a few slips through she has to handle it. Mirio, sweating like a dog in heat, tells Yeon-myeong that she must keep her urn as his bodyguard and assures him to not worry as she won't get in her way. Instead, this troll tells Yeon-myeong to raise them straight to hell, as our savage tells her that she doesn't even need to say it, as that's exactly what he is going to do, increasing the intensity of his attacks. It intensifies so much that the blades become an ocean that is sinking in their body, chopping them like vegetables. Since the number is so overwhelming, Yeon-myeong attacks them with his hands and Albert Einstein gets chopped in half like the rest. That's when a few of them notices Mirio and her sidekick wearing the Tang family outfits. Since they cannot take care of a monster like Yeon-myeong, they plan to capture them and offer them to the sect leader. Mirio is nervous as in a flashback she is surprised that Yeon-myeong is offering to cure her dead vein syndrome. Yeon-myeong tells her that soul energies are also blocking her meridians. Mirio thinks if it's just like her sister she has to get naked, but Yeon-myeong tells her that there is no need for that. Look at that troll's face, as Yeon-myeong is flustered because he imagined it. He tells her that the main reason he is doing this is because Mirio is extremely talented in martial arts, that she is as strong as the Bangi Brigade even though she is suffering from the dead-eye vein that she is unaware of. If they cure her syndrome and unblock her meridians, her strength will be on the level of a clan elder, as she outright slaughters all of them in a matter of seconds. They cannot believe that even his lackeys are extremely strong. Yeon-jeong thought they were kids, but they are stronger than clan leaders. Mirio tells her to stay behind her as it's hard to protect someone. Hearing this, Yeon-jeong starts crying as she has been neglecting her training, so in her current state she is completely useless. All she can do is watch from the back as Mirio continues to slaughter them. Woodface tells everyone that they need to stop the wind pressure from Yeon-myeong, as no matter how strong he might be there is a limit to his internal energy. Even if they take damage they will surround Yeon-myeong trying to overwhelm him. Seeing their determination, Yeon-myeong gets shocked as they are letting themselves get torn to shreds. With the help of a few thousand they manage to weaken the wind pressure. Yeon-myeong thinks to himself that despite the favor he has shown they are still willing to risk their life, wondering what kind of person their sect leader is that they have to go so far. Since now is not the right time to think about it, Yeon-myeong uses his sword and with a few moves he slaughter over 1,000 of them surrounding him. Bangs cannot believe that Yeon-myeong literally slaughtered a few thousand with just a swing of his sword. She realizes it was not luck that he overpowered a Fire Realm Master in a single strike. She has realized that number means nothing in front of him. She tells everyone to stop telling them no matter how many of them attack him they cannot win, so they should back off and save themselves. She apologizes to Yeonhee and tells her that she will pay for her sins one day. She tells Yeon-myeong that it's enough since even 1,000 lives won't be enough to stop him. So in order to kill her she need to use the sect leader. Although she didn't want to do it to witness his death, she has no other choice. Her eyes starts glowing. Yeon-myeong wonders what is happening as he uses the Inferno Lotus technique on the little girl, as she starts burning. In front of everyone, resent at the scene, as no one will be alive once the sect leader arrives, as she will be waiting for them in the afterlife. This is for this video. It was outright dumb. I mean, Yeon-myeong can just one-shot her with a poison needles, instead he is killing like a retard, and his rabid dog has gone crazy burning the girl. The side character are in disbelief that asking her if she is not aware of the consequences. She starts crying, telling them that if it's for white gorilla she can go to any lengths. At this point this rabid dog and her one-sided love is getting on my nerves. This hypocrite literally tells them that it's regrettable that she can't do more because of her lack in power. She takes out a knife from her dress, regretting that she cannot witness the death of the Yeon-myeong. As she tries to kill herself, thinking that the Lord will seek vengeance on her behalf, at that moment Yeon-myeong rushed to her and literally chopped both her hands. Then he moves to little girl and starts absorbing the fire and destroys it. Then he tells her that not only did she harm innocent people but also tarnished the honor and sacrifice of Rabbit. Hear me out, I read everything before making recaps. He could have saved her before all these nonsense dialogues she spouted. But since she trampled on the pride of someone who earned his respect even as an opponent in a death duel, you see, Rabbit had to die or else he would have killed Yeon-myeong. Moving to Yeon-myeong, he clearly tells her that it's stupid of this dog to expect a peaceful death. Lying on the ground, this dog is feeling the pressure, though Yeon-myeong thinks that although he said it, it's not for him to decide but the lizard. No matter what happens he cannot worsen the situation any further. This rabid dog tells Yeon-myeong that the Lord will never forgive him, no matter what happens, and all of it would be pointless since he is going to die by the Lord's hand today. Yeon-myeong is losing his temper, thinking of ripping her mouth apart. That's when a figure falls from the sky, releasing an internal energy so great that even shocks Yeon-myeong. As for the rest of them, they all stand as if time stopped. Rabid dog starts barking as he sees her lying on the ground. Instead of listening to her, he sees Rabbit standing still lifeless, but the next he looks on the side he finds his daughter burned, barely breathing. Seeing this, his easy starts glowing as he becomes emotionless. Yeon-myeong realized that the subordinates charged to fight him to death not because of their loyalty but because it would be better of die fighting than to face such wrath, as unbelievable amount of killing intent releasing from him. It's so much that side character cannot move and Mirio drops her weapon, thinking to herself if he is even a human. For the first time this bum gets nervous, thinking that the girl will not be able to withstand such an overwhelming force, so he will actually have to get serious about facing him. He moves past Yeon-myeong as if he couldn't see him. Don't get me wrong, Yeon-myeong is not weaker than him, it's just that he was taken aback. I have read the novel as well, no, I am aware of what is going to happen. Yeon-myeong thinks if he is ignoring him but realizes that he is going towards his daughter who was barely breathing. Dog again starts barking, telling him that Yeon-myeong killed Rabbit and did this to his daughter. Telling him if he is not hearing the cries of vengeance, so she requests him to kill Yeon-myeong right now. Come on, this Rabbit is talking way too much. The leader covers his daughter in his coat and walks away, ignoring the dog. She tells him to fight, barking about why he is leaving the scene. He tells her that everything is meaningless. Hearing this, dog starts barking again, talking about avenging the dead. As she continues barking he remains quiet, but Yeon-myeong had enough, so he shoves her into the ground, telling this dog to shut up since even his patience has its limit. So he warns her that the next time she does this he will rip her tongue out. Yeon-myeong didn't think things would escalate so much. The original plan was to kill of the air and draw attention to himself so that they divert their attention from the joint sect, which is busy fighting the demonic cult. It will change completely once the daughter of the leader is dead, as he ties a leash on the dog. Now the situation has gone beyond justification and became a personal vendetta. Mirio asks Yeon-myeong if he is going to chase the Lord down. Yeon-myeong tells her that if he doesn't the Tang family might be in danger, so he needs to see this though. Mirio tells him not to, since the Lord is so strong that he even overwhelmed the heavenly pervert. Yeon-myeong tells he is not going there to fight, since if he has any reason left he won't kill someone who came to talk. Mirio asks him what will happen if they fight. Yeon-myeong clenches his fist, telling her that he will risk his life if it threatens the main family. Keep in mind Yeon-myeong is not even 1% strong as he was in his previous life. In the main hall of the Alliance, the doctor informs the Lord that they did everything to save his daughter, but the flames penetrated deep inside her body, so it's impossible to remove it considering her frail constitution. Hint number 1, the flames have reached deep inside her body. Hearing this, the Lord goes blank for a second, remembering flashback about Rabbit and his daughter. We shift to another scene where Lizard was young holding the kid, as the previous leader of the alliance was taking his last breath. Telling Lizard to take care of Yeon-hee as his own daughter, since that time something inside has changed, and to recover from the pain of loss he becomes stronger. Since he thought that if he was invincible no one close to him would lose their life. He guided all his brother to the Fire Realm, and gained the loyalty of power-hungry martial artists and built a very powerful force. But all of it was pointless, as things like this can happen in places he cannot reach. Now he feels what his daughter felt when her straw doll was broken. From the grief he is feeling he can tear apart the sky. As he transforms, not able to control the overwhelming anger he is feeling, his hands change and he finds everything meaningless, but he won't repeat the same mistakes. And has gone crazy thinking of eradicating anything that can possibly bring harm to his people. He might be an emoji, a dragon, but I won't give spoiler. Moving on to Yeon-myeong, he is busy dragging the rabid dog that is suffering from rabies. As Yeon-myeong was on a walk with his crippled dog, Snakey manifests itself and asks Yeon-myeong if he knows that dragons are real. The question took Yeon-myeong by surprise. He asks Snakey that from what he knows dragons are just mythical creatures, which he clearly doesn't. Usually it is a name given to prodigies who cause an uproar in the martial world. Snakey tells him that he is not talking about some human nicknames but in species that's known as dragons. By surprise, as he asks Snakey what he is trying to imply, Snakey tells him that what he is trying to say is that the Black Death Alliance leader is not a human but he is someone that he would call a dragon. The art has improved again and Snakey looks crazy majestic. Yeon-myeong makes a face similar to Mirio, asking what the hell it is saying. Snakey then starts to explain in detail. He tells Yeon-myeong that dragons don't start out in their full form. They are born when the energy of the heaven and earth comes together, taking the shape of a human child. As they live through experiences, they transform into a true dragon. Most adult dragons sleep for hundreds of years, but when they wake up they cause chaos. They are so strong that they can easily destroy nation with a simple release of their energy blast. Yeon-myeong asks him what proof does he have that the alliance leader is a dragon, since he might be saying this because of his overwhelming presence, which sounds more like a baseless speculation. Even Snakey is tired of this retard that he asks him if he that delusional, because Snakey is a supernatural being and yet he still denies the existence of dragons. He asks Yeon-myeong if he remembers that he once served the Tang family as a familiar. Snakey asks him what makes him think that the ancestor kept him around. Humans cannot distinguish dragons because their fundamental energy is entirely different, but as Snakey is a supernatural being he can sense a dragon's energy. That's why he made Snakey his familiar and together they fought and hunted down dragon that would cause harm to the world. Hearing this, Yeon-myeong is taken back, as he wonders how the ancestor hunted dragons. The more he hears about this the harder it is to believe, but hearing it from a 1,000-year-old supernatural being, it gives a lot of credibility. Yeon-myeong wonders just how strong was the ancestor to be able to hunt dragons. If Yeon-myeong were to unleash his sword skills from his past life perfectly, he would have defeated anyone including a dragon easily. Yeon-myeong out of curiosity asks Snakey that just because they are dragons doesn't mean they have to be killed. Snakey tells him that not all dragons are evil. There was a rare case of a dragon turning good known as the Azure Dragon. Originally the role of stopping the evil dragons fell to the Azure Dragon, but the ancestor, not aware of it, thought that all dragons are evil, so he fought and killed the Azure Dragon. After that there was a lot of conflict with the hunters who used to work with the dragon to capture evil ones. The ancestor evidently realized the mistake and decided to hunt evil dragons, to make up for the killing of the Azure Dragon. Yeon-myeong got a rough idea of what had happened. Snakey in a boastful tone tells Yeon-myeong it was even before he was partnered with him as a familiar. Then Snakey gets serious, telling him that he said was not the point. As he mentioned earlier, dragons aren't born knowing they are dragons, they live as humans, coexisting with them and even form attachment to people around them. As they live and grow they are influenced positively so that they can become good dragons like the Azure Dragons. But if negative emotions were to dominate their personality they can easily become an evil dragon. Yeon-myeong gets nervous, asking Snakey that since negative emotions can turn a dragon evil. Snakey tells him it is exactly what he is thinking. That leader of the Death Alliance lost his sworn brother and daughter overnight. Currently he is in the verge of turning into an evil dragon right in front of their eyes. A voice grabs the lizard's attention. an attendant tells him that the young lord of the Tang family is requesting to meet him. The lizard in anger crushes his chair as the attendant tells him that he is here to clear up misunderstandings. The leader says that since he is here to talk, let's hear him out. As Yeon-myeong enters the room with a firm face, the lizard tells the attendant that Yeon-myeong is desperate enough that he entered the lion's den himself. Looking at the leader, Yeon-myeong is confused if he not a human but a dragon. Yeon-myeong first expresses his regrets for what happened at the Sichuan assembly. Then he explains that the rabid dog took the leader's daughter and used her to blackmail the 9 rings into a life and death, so he had no choice but to kill him. Before Yeon-myeong could finish using his ki, the lizard pulls the rabid dogs from his hand and grab her by the neck. As she coughs blood, the lizard tells him that she seems to be at ease. As the trash tries to explain her story, he slits her tongue to shut this retard up. He tells her why is she so afraid, telling her that his daughter must have been as scared when she couldn't say anything before her death. Using the same technique she used to burn her, as she falls to the ground, he tells her that he is not dumb, that he wouldn't recognize the traces of flames on her body, and she is the reason he lost his brother. The burning won't kill her immediately, instead it will cause her double the pain his daughter went through. Yeon-myeong is surprised that he managed to figure all this out just from circumstances, so he might have a way to talk this through. He tells Yeon-myeong that since he is the next lord of the Tang family, he will tell him why he has not destroyed the Tang family until now. That is because his daughter, despite her appearance on the outside, suffered from an incurable disease and couldn't practice martial arts. Even learning the basics would make her cough blood. Even the best medicines in the world were useless, so he thought that the Tang family's poison might be able to save her. He means to say using poison against poison. But since she is no more, there is no more reason for the Tang clan to exist, so once she was cured he would have destroyed them anyways. Yeon-myeong tells him that he is still not backing down, and all of this will prove that he is just getting played by the roasted barbecue dog. He sighs and tells him that if he thinks that he was being manipulated, but it was Yeon-myeong who brought her here to try and dodge his wrath. Lizard thinks that it is pathetic to think that he would get away with a few words. Yeon-myeong asks him what he means by it. It doesn't matter to him who is right or wrong, since the death of his loved ones are connected to them, he won't stand for it. So everyone including Yeon-myeong and his family will die until his anger is satisfied. From now onwards it will not be a punishment by the alliance but a personal revenge, starting with the Tang family. Yeon-myeong takes out his sword thinking that there is no way to avoid a fight. Yeon-myeong gets shocked and nervous when he tells him that everyone from the alliance, including the 6 grandmasters, are all headed towards the Tang family. Once he is done with our chat, he will catch them up using the light foot technique. Hearing this, Yeon-myeong attacks him and a huge explosion occurs. Yeon-myeong starts overthinking that his family is in danger, so he will have to quickly get back. The lizard shocks Yeon-myeong by blocking his sword with his hands, telling him that after losing his eldest brother he destroyed every righteous sect that accepted his death with his own hand. So if Yeon-myeong killed a rabbit, you all are yapping, but he raised kids, adults, everyone just because he wanted to. Anyways, he tells him that this time it won't be just the Tang family, he will wipe every faction on the Central Plains to eliminate future threats. This is it for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and you must comment for another part.